Daytona Stadium in Daytona Beach, Florida welcomes the Wildcats of Bethune Cookman University home for just the second time this season as they host the Spartans of Norfolk State in today's MEAC Digital Network telecast right here on ESPN3. Hello, everyone. Charlie Neal, along with historian Larry Wesley. And, Larry, these two teams haven't played since 2016. It was a game won by Bethune up in Norfolk, Virginia. But as far as the Spartans today, what are the keys for them coming into this contest?
Charlie, the Spartans will have to be very efficient offensively. That means spreading the football around and getting the football to their key players. They must win defensively by creating some turnovers. They should also avoid costly mistakes and penalties, and most importantly, if they can do all of those things, play the complete football game.
As for Bethune Cookman, they're on a 4-game winning streak. What does Terry Sims' team have to do to win their 5th straight?
Well, the Wildcats need to start faster offensively. They have been anemic in the first half. They need to establish the run and run the football. They need to get the football to their playmakers, but most importantly, they need to play solid defense, and they need to win the special teams and turnover battles.
All right, and looking at key players, we have to look at both quarterbacks. We'll start with Norfolk State's Juwan Carter. 4 touchdowns passing, 2 running against Howard last week. He's the number 2 passer in the conference.
He's an excellent football player, been in the system for 3 years, and he's coming into his own right now. He's a true dual-threat quarterback who can hurt you both with his arm and his legs.
On the Wildcat side, Akevius Williams, the second leading scorer in the MEAC. Last week threw for a touchdown, ran for 1.
Another senior who is a dual-threat quarterback. He gets it done more with his legs. He can throw the football. Both of these guys are potential player of the year conference players.
Well, it's the 28th meeting between these two teams. The series began way back in 1976. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff. It's Bethune Cookman and Norfolk State from Daytona Beach in just a moment. Back here at Daytona Stadium along with Larry Wesley, Charlie Neal. We're getting ready for this 28th meeting between Bethune Cookman and Norfolk State University. Norfolk State, actually Bethune won the toss, deferred, and they're going to defer to the second half, and Norfolk State will be kicking off. They're wearing the white jerseys. And, of course, Bethune Cookman in the black home jerseys.
Well, no doubt about it. Now, normally when teams win the toss, most of the time they will defer, and the Wildcats want the football to start the second half. They will kick off to the Spartans. This is an east-west stadium, Charlie, so the Spartans will be coming out of the west part of the stadium going toward the east.
And as we look at it from our left to our right, and you look at a team like the Spartans, though, one of the things you kind of get concerned about, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, is the fact that Spartans have, whether people know it or not, they have been a very good team in the first quarter in terms of putting points on the board.
Well, yeah, they're the exact opposite of Bethune-Cookman offensively, so they are fast starters. And so here's a great opportunity for the Spartans to get this football first and possibly do what they do well.
Well, 38 points in the first quarter so far for the Spartans this season, only 26 for Bethune-Cookman in the first quarter to start this particular game. So Norfolk State will get the ball to start this contest. Tremaine Talbert is one of the deep men. He's wearing number 25 for Norfolk State. The other young man that's back there is number 35, and that is Kevin Johnson, a freshman. Both of these young men are freshmen. Talbert out of Richmond, Virginia. Kevin Johnson out of Suffolk, Virginia, third leading kickoff return man in the MEAC, and we know who leads the MEAC in kickoff returns, right? Jimmy Robinson on the other side.
Right, exactly. Electric football player is Robinson.
Javier McDonald will be kicking it off for Bethune-Cookman, the Wildcats. The opponents, they've done a pretty good job in that area. Special teams have only allowed about 14 yards per kickoff return. The longest kickoff return against Bethune so far this year, 37 yards. And this one is underway. And this one will go out of the end zone. It'll be brought out to the 25-yard line. And that's where the Spartans of Norfolk State will go to work, first down and 10 at their own 25.
Charlie, you know, we had some interesting weather here through Florida, and I'm watching the flag in the west end zone. It's a blustery evening. It's probably a cross breeze, but McDonald got into that kick pretty good and sent it about 3 yards deep in the end zone.
He certainly did. And you talk about that tropical storm Nestor, who came through here earlier today and pushed this game back. It was supposed to be a 4 o'clock kick. They moved it back by 3 hours to try to get away from the weather. First down and 10. Here's the Spartans of Norfolk State, led by Jawan Carter, their quarterback. He pitches off to the right side, and Kevin Johnson has nowhere to run. As he's brought down immediately, actually loses maybe a yard or two on the play, and it'll bring up a second down and 12.
Immediately, the Wildcats are trying to set the defensive edge because the Spartans are trying to get outside on you real quickly, but that time the Cats were up to the task, knocking them down for that 2-yard loss.
They go with no huddle. As they break the huddle, Kendall James in a slot to the bottom, the near side. Ellington all the way at the bottom, and now flags, so we're going to get a false start. So, again, a hole being dug by Norfolk State early on in this contest.
Well, no doubt about that. You want to be, as we said, efficiently sharp when you're coming out, and you got 2 negative plays and you're getting further behind the sticks. One of the things that's so important, Charlie, is staying on schedule.
Yes.
Most teams want to stay on schedule.
So it's 2nd and 17 right now. Our referee, Robert Frazier, is assigned by the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, our officials tonight in this contest. And again, here's a play action. In fact, they actually give it off to Kevin Johnson. And Kevin, across the 20 to about the 22, is met by a host of black jerseys defensively and not a lot of running room. It'll bring up a 3rd down for Norfolk State.
He tried to run the outside read there, but the pressure was coming from the edge. He turned it back in. He probably got 4 yards, some of the penalty yardage back. It will still be 3rd down, and the line to make is the 35-yard line.
Yeah, 3rd and 12 is what it's going to be. We're just getting underway here in Daytona Beach. So let's see what they do with this 3rd down, a team that's 2nd in the conference in 3rd down conversions at 40%. Here's the quarterbacks, and here's Carter. He'll take off and run around the left side, slides down after getting the 1st down at the 36-yard line. So that's where the 1st down is gained. He made it by a yard, and they'll move the chains.
And Wisely got down, did the junior quarterback, and again, using his legs to escape and extend a play and extending the downs for the Norfolk Spartans, 1st and 10.
Co-offensive player of the week, Jawan Carter, a junior out of Highland Springs High in Richmond, Virginia. It is 1st down and 10. And now the first pass of the game, and it's incomplete on the far sideline. Trying to get it to one of his wide receivers out there.
Justin Smith.
Justin is a guy he likes to throw to a lot, number 3. And then Anthony Williams, the tight end, is also in there wearing number 4. They come with Ellington to the bottom, this time on 2nd down and 10. One lone setback. That's Kevin Johnson beside his quarterback. And they give off to Kevin Johnson. Johnson through the middle, and Johnson up to the 40-yard line, where he'll be about 6 yards shy of a 1st down. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Well, Charlie, you can see right away the Spartan running backs are looking outside first. The Wildcats are setting the edge, and so they're darting back inside, running the running back into the containment area and knock him down there. The Wildcats do for about a 4-yard gain.
Now the quarterback, again working from the shotgun. Kevin Johnson to his left. In motion is Kendall James. And the quarterback drops back to pass. And he is going to be sacked, not going to get away from the defense of Bethune Cookman University, and that is led by number 44 back there, Jamarcus Reeves.
Jamarcus Reeves, outstanding defensive end. He's a transfer and a junior college player from ASA Miami out of Miami, Florida, but has gotten a lot of reps so far for the Wildcats this year. Good pressure, and the Wildcats are able to get the Spartans into a 4th down situation.
And that'll bring on the punting unit for Norfolk State, and that is Ryan Richter. Fair catch being called for and made right at about the 35, 36-yard line. No return that time. And Bethune Cookman will get the ball for the first time tonight.
Yeah, that was a odd-looking kick there. Charlie kicked it end over end. Fair caught there by Tyree Spain. And the Wildcats will get pretty good starting position to begin their initial offensive set for the evening.
At their own 35-yard line, they go with Akevius Williams. He's been sacked 13 times, and when you look at what Norfolk State did against Howard a week ago, they came out with a lot of sacks in that contest as they try to run around the edge on the near side this time with Jimmy Robinson, and Jimmy manages to pick up maybe a yard, and that's it.
Well, there was a fly sweep that time by the Wildcats trying to get the football into the explosive Jimmy Robinson, but Norfolk State had good containment into the boundary for 1 yard gain.
Now Isaac Washington shifts. There's a pass, a little. They try to call a counter screen inside with Jimmy Robinson coming toward the ball in the backfield, and he just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, it was going to be a tonal screen. They actually had it blocked pretty good, but you have to catch it first, put it on the ground there. Incomplete, third down, and 9 yards needed.
Marcus Riley is in there at a wide receiver. He goes to the far side of the field. Wearing number 2. Again, here comes Williams back to pass. Now he's running right. Has some room to run. Turns the corner. Has the first down and runs out of bounds just shy of midfield at the 47, 48-yard line.
Interesting. Both quarterbacks using their legs to get out of danger and get the initial first down for both ball clubs.
Well, you look at Akevius Williams and you look at the stats on him and where he ranks as far as total offense in the conference. He's 6th in that department. He's 2nd in rushing.
And additionally, we had a holding penalty against the Spartans that they're tacking on. 10 more yards for the Wildcats on top of the 1st and 10 run.
And Norfolk State, not a team that gets penalized a lot, but they are penalized on this one, so that moves the ball all the way into Norfolk State territory, and they keep the ball on the ground straight ahead and down to the 30-yard line. Goes Bethune-Cookman, and moving the chains once again, or very close to it, with Isaac Washington on the carry. The sophomore out of Cape Coral, Florida, came in averaging just about 6 yards per carry. Quick movement. Now back to pass. Williams has it complete on the far sideline and still trying to gain some extra yards is Jimmy Robinson.
Well, they run a quick out that time by Robinson. They had 1st and 10. Well, they got 6 yards on first down. They ran about a 7-yard out route. It looks like they're
first
calling
down.
It a 1st and 10.
It is a first down right at the 30-yard line.
First down.
Chain gang was a little slow moving, but they're a little fast for them, aren't they?
Right. Just hurry up offense.
Riley to the far side. Here's Williams rolling left. Throws, and it's incomplete on the near side. Trying to get it to Humphrey, Kalen Humphrey, the wide receiver, senior out of Long Beach, California.
Yeah, he's a transfer kid out of California. He's been playing good football for the Wildcats. Played a little last year, but more playing time this year, and he's actually starting this evening.
He's only played in 4 games so far. 3 receptions coming into tonight's contest.
The Wildcats have not featured the pass very much this year, so they've been running it most of the year.
Isaac Washington to the right of his quarterback. 2nd down. Kevius steps up, throws, it's too high, and we get an incomplete pass.
Yeah, he was trying to run a smash route coming back at about the sticks at 10 yards, but the ball was errantly thrown a little bit high there. Pretty good pocket to get the football off, but it sets up a 3rd down possession down, 3rd down and 10 yards needed.
We're still in the first quarter. 10 minutes to go. We've played 5 minutes already. No score. First possession for the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman University. Play action again. Kevius Williams throws and has it complete inside the 15 at about the 13 to Jimmy Robinson. Jimmy Robinson there on the reception. Bashard Russell runs him out of bounds, the cornerback.
Offense, number 58.
Well, we got a penalty. So we got a penalty for holding against Ramirez. Miguel Ramirez, the senior out of Lake Alfred, Florida.
Yeah, that pocket held up pretty good right there. I was looking to see. It was a good out route, about a 15-yard out, well-thrown football caught. But we had Landry on the football field, so back up the Wildcats now makes it third and about 20 yards.
Yeah, they had the ball inside the 15. Now they're going to be snapping it from the 40-yard line of Norfolk State.
We know that the Wildcats are the most penalized team in the conference.
Not something you want to be proud of, right?
Not at all.
Williams on a little swing pass to the near side. Here comes Jimmy Robinson. And Jimmy Robinson is finally run out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. But a good gain on the play. He's still about 10 yards shy. Well, let's say about 4 yards shy of a first down. He has to get to the 21. The ball will be spotted at the 25.
Well, they ran a little flare route that time, trying to get that football to Jimmy Robinson as many ways as you can out in space and let him do the rest.
And they do a good job of that, I'll tell you. And he's very dangerous. Anytime he touches the football, whether it's on special teams, on end arounds, sweeps.
You have to account for him wherever he is.
No question. Very impressive young man. Back to pass. Williams throws it, has a man open, but just overthrew the intended receiver again, and that is Kalen Humphrey, the senior.
Ball goes over on downs. Media timeout.
Yeah, they're trying to go on a post that time to the inside, but the pass was well overthrown that time. Had a little separation there, but Akevius did not make a clean throw.
Well, there's a timeout on the floor, on the field. It's not basketball yet, almost. 8:48, the time remaining here in the first quarter in Daytona Beach. There's no score between Norfolk State and Bethune Cookman. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3.
Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
It is 7 p.m.
We crushed Tech by 40. You should be out there celebrating.
Let me smell your breath. Not a trace of Dr. Pepper.
Look what you're doing to her.
Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
T-Mobile's network connects baseball fans across the league. Introducing our newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Along with Larry Wesley, Charlie Neal here in Daytona Beach. Bethune Cookman, Norfolk State doing battle, no score. First down and 10 for the Spartans of Norfolk State. It looks like we're going to get a false start against the Spartans. Their second penalty.
Yep, second false start in 2 series. Not what you really want. Again, you want to stay, as we said, on schedule with the first and 10. Now you come out of a change of possession, get a penalty. It's first and 15.
First and 15. Now the ball is spotted all the way back at the 20-yard line. Juwan Carter is the co-offensive player of the week in the conference, the junior quarterback out of Highland Springs in Richmond, Virginia. He keeps the ball looking right, throws, and it's almost picked off on the sideline, on the near sideline, as it goes incomplete. That pass intended for Tylen McElhenney on the near side. And
Devontae Lawrence, the safety, came over. It was a semi-roll. They tried to run a 15-yard out, Charlie, but it was a little late getting there, and the Wildcat defender made a better break on the football than the wide receiver did.
He certainly did. And like I said, it could very close have been intercepted. And Juwan Carter's only thrown 8 interceptions this year. He's thrown 15 touchdown passes, 4 last week against Howard. Here's a little screen, but it doesn't go anywhere. Ball hits the ground, and it's incomplete.
That's a good idea, Charlie. If you're getting pressure like that, trying to set up the screen to get it to one of the running backs, but to no avail there for the Spartans. You got to make that connection. Third down, and again, you're looking at 15 yards needed.
It is third down and 15. Let's see what Carter has up his sleeves on this play. Little play action again, standing in there. Under pressure, will not get away, and he is brought down and sacked. And coming up with the sack for Bethune-Cookman. I believe it was Judas McKenzie.
Judas McKenzie, right.
The defensive tackle out of Fort Myers, Florida. And that'll bring on a punting situation once again for Norfolk State and Ryan Richter.
Tyree Spain, I think, is deep.
Spain is the deep man. He's standing at his own 45-yard line. Not a good punt. Goes out of bounds right in front of the Bethune bench, right at about the 40 midfield. That's where they're gonna spot it. First down and 10 at midfield. And that's where Bethune Cookman will get the ball for the second time. No score between these two teams coming into this contest. When you look at what Bethune Cookman did starting the season, there's a timeout on the field. And we'll be back with more. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network.
Goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Bethune Cookman with the ball at midfield. No score. 7:58 to go in the first quarter here in Daytona Beach. And Akevius Williams keeps it and gains about 5 yards down to the 45-yard line of Norfolk State.
Straight RPO that time, run pass option. He faked it to the tailback and kept it, pulled it and went inside for about 5 yards. Good run.
This Wildcat team came in with a 5-1 record, 3-0 in conference play, and they're on a 4-game winning streak. And we get a complete pass, but a loss of 1 yard after the completion to Jimmy Robinson.
Well, that was an all-out blitz that time, Charlie. They sold out and brought both free safeties and got to Jimmy. They don't make that tackle. He's probably loose, but great job by the Spartans knocking the Wildcats down for a little loss.
So it'll be 3rd down and 6 ball at the 46-yard line of Norfolk State. Williams under pressure, and he's going to be sacked. This defense came up with a bunch of sacks last week against Howard University, 5 to be exact. The most since 2017. They did that against Savannah State, and they picked up their first sack of the night today.
That's impressive right there to get home with the blitz and to get Akevius Williams, who is a very slippery quarterback in the pocket, as we've seen. And so great job by the Spartans after punting the football to the 50, and now the Wildcats will have to kick it back.
What is interesting, that drive started at midfield, and they lost 2 yards on that play, especially with the sack. They're not taking any chances with Jimmy Robinson as this punt by Coward goes out of bounds on the far sideline, and that's where Norfolk State will get the ball for the 3rd time this evening at their own 17. They'll mark it at the 18-yard line, 1st down and 10. Well, we got a timeout on the field.
Introducing our newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
With Larry Wesley, Charlie Neal here in Daytona Beach. Norfolk State with the ball, 1st down and 10. They're another possession for them, their 3rd of the afternoon. And a good run straight up the gut and a 1st down gain by the Spartans, their best run of the night so far. And that moves the ball all the way across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. And I'll tell you, they have a good group of running backs. They might employ at least 3 different running backs during the course of the evening.
They blocked that well, Charlie, and got to the edge.
And again, they keep the ball on the ground. And the running game is starting to open up a little bit for Norfolk State right now. You know, one of the things you talk about is the offensive line, who's done a pretty good job there with Kirby, Powell, Jordan, Red, and Lipscomb. And Red, the MEAC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Jordan, the only member, that center, that was not part of that starting offensive line from a year ago.
And they're doing a great job right now asserting themselves at the point of attack and getting a crease that a run behind.
And they're going with the freshman, Raekwon Smith. Here's a young man. He can really get it done, and he's close to another 1st down. In fact, does have the 1st down across the 40, right, close to the 45, at the 44-yard line is where he's brought down. Raekwon Smith, a freshman out of Highland Springs, Virginia. He's, I tell you, first career attempt, he went 62 yards.
We know he can take it to the house.
He can take it to the house,
no doubt about it. A lot of young kids on the Trail Scots football team, good-looking kids.
He caught a 41-yard pass against Howard a week ago. First down and 10. And they're going to the left side this time. And a helmet comes off of one of the Bethune-Cookman players. And the ball is spotted right at the midfield stripe.
That's another 6-yard gain right there, running off tackle. So the Spartans have found something on the offensive front before trying to set the edge. They're running more downhill right now in between the tackles and gaining positive yards.
Judas McKenzie was the Bethune-Cookman player who lost his helmet. So he has to come out for at least one play. And meanwhile, at the midfield stripe are the Spartans of Norfolk State. And now we get a false start. That's the third false start penalty against them today.
Number 4. 5-yard penalties. Still first down.
Anthony Williams, the tight end, was the man who moved this particular time.
Charlie, those are drive killers. I mean, even though that was on second down, they didn't run the play, but they had just had a wonderful run for on first and 10 by 6 yards.
So you can't continually shoot yourself in the foot, right?
That's not a productive way to get it done.
No,
it makes
isn't.
It really difficult.
It is not. You've got to clean up those types of mistakes, as Kevin Johnson is in the backfield, a walk-on, 2-time Rookie of the Week a year ago. And there's Kevin Johnson trying to break tackles and finally brought down after he crosses midfield.
And he gets the penalty yardage back and sets up a third down on about 3.5 yards. Good running again. Everything this drive has been inside of the tackles and downhill.
Henry Miller II was the man who came up to make the stop, the junior out of Kissimmee, Florida.
He's a transfer out of University of Pittsburgh.
3rd down and 4 for the Spartans. Kevin Johnson beside his quarterback on the right of him. Right now, DeJuan Carter. And now it gives off to Kevin Johnson, and Kevin close to the first down.
I think he's right at it, Charlie. It's right in front of us.
Let's see where they mark it. They say, yes, he has the first down. Right shy of the 45-yard marker.
Leaning on that veteran line that you spoke of and running with a lot more effectiveness, and I call this smash mouth football.
Yeah, that Kenneth Kirby, he's a preseason second-team all-conference selection at the left tackle. Jalen Powell, who's the left guard, started the first game of the season at the center spot. At the right tackle is Taro Lipscomb, a redshirt junior out of Washington, D.C. Justin Redd, the right guard, redshirt sophomore out of Hampton, Virginia. Latrell Scott is their head coach. And here's a pass down the far sideline and headed for the end zone. Touchdown will be Kevin Johnson.
Great job.
Coming out of the backfield.
Great job right there, Charlie. They swung the football to Johnson out the backfield. He showed some jets going down that sideline.
He certainly did. Yes, he did.
That's a good-looking play, and the Spartans are on the board first here with 2:20 to go in the first quarter. Nice throw and catch of about 46 yards.
Johnson with the touchdown.
That was a little swing pass, so that gives Carter another touchdown pass for the season. That is number 16 for him. And here is the point after. Richter. Make that Nardone, rather, 34 with the point after. And that is up, and it is good. And Norfolk State draws first blood here. 7-0 over Bethune-Cookman with 2:30 to go here in the first quarter in Daytona Beach.
That's a good-looking drive by the Spartans. They moved that football, matriculating it down the field running. And then, you don't have to throw the football a long way, Charlie. That was a swing out of the backfield. And as old Lim Bonner used to say, yards after catch, that yak. Taking it to that yak. Taking it to the house.
Well, Kevin Johnson, a pretty good receiver in his own right. That's his 8th reception of the year and his 3rd receiving touchdown of the year.
Well, they take that football and actually go about 85 yards with that touchdown.
Well, let's look at the MEAC standings right now as they stand. We see Bethune-Cookman on top at 3-0. North Carolina A&T will play tomorrow at Tallahassee, and in Florida A&M, their game had to be postponed because of that tropical storm Nestor. South Carolina State a winner today. They're now 2-1 after they beat Morgan State for homecoming. North Carolina Central idle. Norfolk State playing today. Howard's is idle today. Morgan State losing to South Carolina State. Del State lost today. not a conference game. They played Merrimack, and Florida A&M, they will play tomorrow against that North Carolina A&T team. So from the 9-yard line, whoa, what a hit put on the return man. And Jimmy Robinson had nowhere to run and nowhere to hide.
Well, he got really tagged that time pretty good by the special teams player Stuart Anderson, number 20 coming down there, and he made a great tackle, knocking Jimmy down for one of the rare times to limit him to just getting about 10 yards on that return.
Yeah, that's pretty good, limiting him, because Jimmy normally averages about 28 yards per kickoff return.
Absolutely. Great job by the Spartans.
Catch first into their 20-yard line.
7-0 our score. Bethune Cookman staying with the ball.
Running that time, the zone read inside, giving it to the fullback that time inside. And that was a good, strong run by the Wildcats of about 7 yards.
You know what's interesting? We don't see fullbacks too much anymore in offenses, do we?
No, not at all. Really, with this spread stuff, that was Isaac Washington running downhill.
Yeah. And he's 5'9", 190. That's what he's listed at. Is he has the ball, a pass out for McKevius Williams. Good play action, and it's complete.
That's Darryl Powell, that time number 85. These Wildcats with these jerseys, these maroon jerseys. And
hard to see.
Oh, my goodness, with these old eyes.
From Deerfield Beach. He's only played in 2 games. That is his third reception this year. That is for Darryl Powell. And they keep it on the ground, and they move the ball out across the 35-yard line to the 36-yard line. And again, it's Isaac Washington on the
run, on the inside run of the RPO. Both teams taking a similar approach. No more dancing outside. Everything's between the tackles right now.
He came in, Isaac, with 352 yards rushing, averaging just about 6 yards per carry. He had 2 touchdowns against Mississippi Valley earlier this year, and now a sack, the second sack of the day for Norfolk State defensively.
Good pressure that time. McKevius holding it a little bit longer, and they sack him back for about looks like about a 12-yard loss, Charlie.
5 sacks a week ago for the Spartan defense, and already 2 tonight against Bethune Cookman.
That now sets up third down and about 19 yards needed for the 1st and 10, 18 yards needed.
So with this third down coming up for Bethune-Cookman, a team that's last in the conference in third down conversions at 29%.
And you do not want to be facing, there's not a lot of plays in the playbook for 3rd and 18. That's not a way to make a living.
No question of the timeout call by Akevius Williams, trying to figure out what they want to do to try to get this one done. So we'll see what happens on this possession. We talked about some of the games that were played early today. Tomorrow, we know that at 2 p.m., North Carolina A&T's only conference loss last year was to Florida A&M. That game was in Greensboro. And the Aggies have the nation's leading running back in yards per carry and scoring in Jermaine Martin. He has 742 yards and 11 touchdowns. FAMU has the MEAC's co-offensive player of the week in quarterback Ryan Stanley, who broke Quinn Gray's school record for passing yards. He has 7,779 yards. So that should be a whale of a game tomorrow.
That should be
down in Tallahassee, right? Yeah, and of course we know about South Carolina State with their win today over Morgan State. That also let Buddy Pugh become the winningest coach in South Carolina State's history, breaking the old record held by Willie Jeffries. Here we go. Akevius Williams wide open, and it's caught for a first down at the 28-yard line of Norfolk State. Getting wide open there for the reception.
Stephon Francois, number 81.
Francois, first game he's played this year, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely first game of the year. He's a junior out of South Florida.
Yeah, Miramar. MacArthur High School down there, 5'11", 165-pounder, and the first quarter comes to an end here in Daytona Beach with the Wildcats threatening. They're down by 7 to the Spartans of Norfolk State. Back with the second quarter from Daytona Stadium in Daytona Beach. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. As we start the second quarter, they keep the ball on the ground. That is the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman after that 45-yard pass that moved the chains all the way down to the 30-yard line to Stephon Francois. The ball is now down at the 25, where it'll be second down and 5.
And that was Isaac Washington taking that direct handoff from the quarterback there and getting 5 yards into the line.
Again, now Akevius Williams throws, has it complete, and in the end zone for the touchdown is Francois.
Boy, that was a quick strike. That was the RPO look. He faked it inside. I didn't know who had the football, Charlie. He came up, and Francois got behind the safety, and Keefe put it right on him, so the Wildcats get a quick touchdown.
They certainly do, with 14:29 here to go in the first half. And now they have an opportunity to tie the game with Javier McDonald on to attempt the point after. And the man who caught the touchdown is the holder, and the kick is up, and it is good, and we're all tied here in Daytona Beach at 7 apiece. Timeout on the field. Bethune-Cookman scores 7 plays, 7 points for them. And Francois, that pass reception, good for 25 yards.
Actually, 80-yard drive, Charlie, because we get the kick.
Signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Back here at Daytona Beach, again, the woes of scoring in the first quarter is still apparent for Bethune-Cookman, but it doesn't matter when you score on the second play of the second quarter.
Right.
At least they put some points on the board.
We were just
right?
one play behind, right? You're right, Charlie. Still got that goose egg in the first quarter, though.
Raekwon Smith, along with that one, will not be run back. It'll be a touchback, and it'll be brought out to the 25-yard line, and that's where the Spartans will get to work. First down and 10, each team scoring on their last possession. Of course, Norfolk State had that was an 88-yard drive, I believe.
88 yards for North Carolina State. For Norfolk State, and Bethune-Cookman 80 yards.
Right. So, again, both teams scoring on their last possession from their own 25-yard line. The fourth offensive possession right now for Norfolk State and the Spartans. 7 apiece. That's the score with 14:28 to go in the second quarter. And they keep the ball, that is, the Spartans on the ground with a 1-yard gain. And that's all it's going to be with the running game. And, again, we've got Raekwon Smith, the young man who's a freshman out of Highland Springs in Richmond, Virginia.
Well, again, establishing that run inside. The Wildcats a little bit more stout at the point of attack, knocking the Spartans down this time for about a yard gain.
We'll see what Carter does. Coming into the game, they had completed passes to 11 different receivers. That is Norfolk State, with 9 of them having touchdown receptions. And here we have a pass complete for a first down across the 35 to the 36-yard line this time. And on that reception for Norfolk State is Marcus Ellington, a junior, redshirt junior, out of Neptune, New Jersey.
He runs a good route. He pushes up to the sticks, and well-thrown football by Carter right on him, and the Spartans sustain the drive and get a fresh set of downs.
This time they come with Raekwon Smith to the near side. Raekwon Smith with about a 5-yard gain out to the 40-yard line. So the freshman, we talk about all these kids that they have on this Norfolk State team. They have 11 redshirt freshmen and 14 true freshmen.
They're a young ball club, right? The freshmen they don't play like freshmen. They run hard.
They do run hard. Great recruiting in the state of Virginia for Latrell Scott. He's from that area, went to Hampton University, played there at Hampton University. 58 of the 80 players on this team are from the state of Virginia. This one is caught by McElhenney, and he's at midfield, still on his feet and fighting. It finally brought down by the dark jerseys of Bethune-Cookman.
Good throw and catch off the RPO look that time. Spartans establishing the run inside. That time they take a page out of Bethune's book and hit the receiver over the middle for a 1st and 10 to the Wildcats 49.
McElhenney, one of these young men who came in after transferring from the University of Delaware, where he spent 2 years.
Well, that transfer portal, Charlie, folks are moving around so fast right now.
Can't keep up with them.
You cannot.
It's almost like the pros, right? You can't. You used to know where everybody was. Here's a run off the left side, and down the sideline goes Raekwon Smith, and Raekwon Smith in for the touchdown.
That's some speed right there, boy. I tell you, right off tackle, and Raekwon ran between the safety and the corner, outran the angle. Spartans putting up some big explosive plays early in this football game. They battle back to the lead.
Was that a 48-yard run?
48-yard run. I mean, nonstop. He didn't even stop to get patrol. He kept rolling.
Didn't need to be fueled, did he?
No.
And here's the point after for Norfolk State. Josh Nardone trying to make it a 14-7 ball game. The kick is up, and it is good. With the score, 14-7, Norfolk State coming in, putting
T-Mobile's network connects baseball fans across the league. Introducing our newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
at home for only their second time this year. And we'll be back with more from Daytona Stadium. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN.
T-Mobile's network connects baseball fans across the league. Introducing our newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Robinson and Robinson a day, along with Bird. Richter kicking.
Back here in Daytona Beach after that 45-yard run, or 48-yard run by Raekwon Smith, his first rushing touchdown of the year. Here comes Jimmy Robinson on the return for Bethune Cookman, and he gets it out across the 30 to about the 32, 33-yard line. And so Daytona Beach and Bethune-Cookman gets the ball once again, their fourth offensive possession. 12:14 is the time remaining, along with Larry Wesley, Charlie Neal here at Daytona Stadium for this MEAC Digital Network telecast on ESPN3.
We got a shootout of brewing here, Charlie.
It
I'll tell
certainly
you
does.
that. It's like a track meet. Like we went to a football game and a track meet broke out.
Especially with Raekwon Smith outrunning the secondary, right?
That's
He gets
right.
into that second wave, and he was just not going to be denied. Akevius Williams sacked for the third time today. The third sack by the Spartans of Norfolk State defensively, and they are really coming with a vengeance.
Bringing some pressure off the edge there,
Yeah.
and Akevius is holding it a little bit longer. That was a total jailbreak that time. Offensive line not holding up at all, and it's second down now at about 24.
Yeah, they started at their own 33-yard line on this drive. Here's Williams going back to throw. That one's almost picked off this time.
Yeah, that was a screen pass, but not very well executed. In fact, the lineman had a really good shot at it. Number 12 for the Spartans almost got his hand on that football.
That was Speller, the defensive tackle,
defensive
the
tackle.
redshirt senior out of Virginia Beach,
Boy.
Kempsville High.
That might have been a hamburger. He might have got that one, Charlie.
He wasn't as hungry as you thought he was, huh?
Right.
It is third down with a lot of real estate to go for this Bethune-Cookman team. Williams throwing it long, and there's a Norfolk State players closer to it than Bethune-Cookman. And coming up with his hands on the ball, and was Coles. Devin Coles was the man down there defensively.
Yeah, that was just a throwaway, I believe. That was supposed to be a takeoff route, but the Spartans did what you're supposed to do, never let anyone get deeper than the deep third, and they had a better position to get that football than the Wildcats did.
So Coward is back to punt. Only his second punt of the evening. Talbert, the deep man, to receive the punt for Norfolk State.
Albert State.
Ball is down. Was it hit? Was it touched? I believe so. We may have a muff. It is.
It was
The
touched.
ball touched one of the Spartans, and
And they're conferring with it right now, but there was no signal for a fair catch. Wasn't any kick interference. He came up.
No, I don't think so. I think he just got there and the ball took a bounce and
hit him.
Hit one of the I'm not sure if it hit him or one of the other players in white jerseys, but nevertheless, Bethune Cookman gets great field position at the 48 of Norfolk State.
Very fortuitous break right there for the Wildcats. I tell you, Norfolk would have had great starting position at about the 48 of their own 48.
11:02, the time remaining here in the first half of play. 14-7, Spartans of Norfolk State. Trip wide receivers to the far side of the field for the Wildcats on this one. In the backfield is Quayshawn Bird as a running back.
See, when they're resetting the clock here, John.
The game clock will start on the snap.
Okay, 11:14. They won it on the play on the game clock.
11:14 is the time remaining. So trip wide receivers to the top and the far side. Quayshawn Bird Jr. out of Palm Coast is in the backfield with the quarterback, Williams, and they give it off to Bird. And Bird stumbles forward for about 6 yards.
Yeah, Bird is a real very fast runner himself in between the tackles.
And they go hardly with any time. And now here's Williams being pressured in the backfield, trying to get out of bounds, and runs out of bounds in front of his own bench right at the 45, 44-yard line.
He'll lose 2 yards. The Spartans are continually bringing pressure on Akivis. They're trying to get home with the blitz, and as long as you can get home, you can nullify any offensive attack by the Wildcats. We'll lose 2 yards. It'll be third down now and about 6.5 to 7.
And Nigel Chavis, along with Cephas Harden, were the men applying the pressure. Cephas Harden had 11 tackles last week for these Spartans. And again, they keep the ball on the ground, and there's a secondary. There he goes. There goes Wilson.
Again.
Bird straight ahead. No, that's not Bird. That's Washington. Isaac Washington.
They slipped Isaac in there on us that time.
Isaac Washington puts up the first down with that long run that time. And it's quick, not giving you a chance to make any substitutions defensively. Here's a snap. Williams rolls right, looks down the field, and it is caught. And it is caught inside the 3-yard line, and coming up with the reception is Jimmy Robinson.
Yeah. Jimmy can do it all. They run him on a flag route that time. He gets to the outside. The safety came over. Jimmy fought him for the 1st and 10, fought him for the catch, and we get it at about the 2-yard line.
Senior out of Flagler High, Palm Coast Flagler. It is 1st and goal. Straight ahead. They keep it on the ground, and shy of the first down, or touchdown rather, goes Isaac Washington as he's brought down by Cephas Harden.
Second down and about a little less than a half yard inside of the 1-yard line here.
Isaac Washington again in the backfield with his quarterback. Let's see what they do on this one. And they're going to throw it. Incomplete. Good defense by Norfolk State down there. Devin Coles getting his hands on the ball, and it goes incomplete. It'll be third down and goal.
You kind of wonder where that call came from right there, Charlie. Sort of gave her down away.
Alan Suber.
Yeah, I guess you're right. We don't have to wonder too much, I guess. Yeah, but now you force yourself into a third down right here. We'll see what the Wildcats come up with.
Jimmy Robinson is in a slot to the left. Darryl Powell is on the outside of that slot. Isaac Washington is back behind the quarterback. Now here's the quarterback. He's going to keep it, and he's not going to get there. Kevius Williams tried to go off the right side. Will not get there as the defense of Norfolk State stiffen up right there. Now let's see what Coach Terry Sims wants to do on this 4th down. Is he going to go for it, or is he going to try to kick the field goal?
Well, they're bringing another tight end, Jared Beauchamp, in right now, so we'll see what the Wildcats do. You're still questioning yourself on that second down pass play, but it's 4th down, and here's a big play in this football game early.
Only 2 field goal attempts for Bethune-Cookman this year. They were perfect in both of them, but this time they're keeping it on the ground. Here's Williams throwing, and we got the touchdown. And it is caught for a touchdown.
That Tamron
French
Mallett?
Mallard for 6.
85?
85.
Powell.
That's Darryl Powell.
Or 13. No, that was 13. I'm sorry.
I thought it was Cameron Mallett. Mallett, the tight end.
Taron Mallett, the junior out of Port St. Lucie. So 1 yard pass play, and trying to tie this game up is Javier, and not going to get it. The ball is up in the air, partially blocked, and it's a 1-point ball game. 14-13.
Well, PAT missed right there. Good job by the Spartans denying it. So we'll have a 1-point deficit.
So remember, this score came after a muff. And we'll be back with more from Daytona Beach. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. Here's a look at the block of the extra point attempt by Javier McDonald. And that is the fourth missed extra point by Bethune Cookman this year. Here's a return on the right side for Norfolk State. They get the ball up near the 25-yard line where it'll be first down and 10.
Saw some laundry coming in there late from a long way back. Penalty. Flag thrown in.
You remember that touchdown was a result of a muff by the Spartans of Norfolk State on a punt. So that, for in all essence, there's a turnover, the only turnover of the ball game so far by either team.
There is no foul. First down.
So the laundry was mistakenly dropped. So
he dropped it a long way, Charlie.
he was thinking he was going to be a foul, right?
Right.
So Norfolk State now will go from their own 24-yard line, first down and 10. They lead it by 1, 14-13, with 8:42 to go, first half. Williams on the near side, flanks down, and they keep the ball on the ground and out to the 30-yard line. A gain of about 7 yards on the play. Again, is Kevin Johnson. He's been a workhorse for this Spartan team. Came in averaging just about 7.8 yards per carry.
Yeah, they pull a guard around that time to lead him up into the hole, and he gets about 7 yards. Good, strong running at the point of attack.
See what Juwan Carter, co-offensive player of the week in the conference, will do on this one. He has not been sacked today. And again, they give the ball off to Kevin Johnson, and Kevin Johnson gets a few yards before he's brought down immediately by number 31 for Norfolk State, Devin James, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, I guess the first and 10, he only needed 3, and he got just that before James brings him down at the 34-yard line. Norfolk State doing a fine job matriculating this football down the field with long drives.
Well, they felt confident coming in. You know, that snapped the 4-game losing streak a week ago, and that sometimes that's all things you need to get it going. Rolling right. Carter throws back across his body. A dangerous pass, but he got it complete.
Yeah,
and he got it complete to Kevin Johnson coming out of the backfield.
You have to find Johnson everywhere. You look, one of the cardinal sins, never throw late across the middle, back across your body. And they did that and made the completion for about 4 yards.
Norfolk's 38-yard line.
Second down. And the quarterback, Carter, decides to keep it and turn the corner. Runs out of bounds at the 40-yard line after a gain of about 3. So it'll be 3rd down and 4.
3rd and 4, big play right here. 6:54 remaining in the first quarter, Charlie. And, Norfolk has been able to stay on schedule and pick up these 3rd downs. So we'll see what happens right here.
3rd down 4. Norfolk Spartan 40-yard line.
Well, we've had a good one so far here.
Sure do.
As you look at Latrell Scott on the sideline, lost his shoe last week, got hit along the sideline, got knocked out of the shoe. Here's Carter, back to throw, under pressure, has some running room. Now he decides he's going to take off and he's going to lose yards. He is not going to get to the first down marker. as a host of dark jerseys were there to greet.
Yeah, they came up like the Dog Knight.
Yeah, the junior quarterback, yeah.
Right, and knocked him down back to the 36-yard line. Good stand by the Wildcats, forcing a punt by the Spartans.
They had scored their last 2 possessions. This is the 3rd time they have punted this evening. Spain, the deep man for Bethune Cookman. He retreats and feels it way back inside his 20, but has some running room on the near side. Here he comes, and finally brought down from behind at about the 35, 36-yard line. They're going to mark it at the 38.
Classic example about kicking your coverage, a beautiful kick. And they had coverage there, but the first gunner missed, and when you miss, you give up a lot of yardage, and Spain brings it all the way back to about the 39, as you said.
He came in averaging 16.3 yards per punt return. Had a 30-yarder earlier this year, sophomore out of Tampa, Florida, and Hillsborough High. So let's see what the Wildcats can put together. They're down by 1, 5.5 minutes to go here in the first half. They're going to be snapping it from their own 38-yard line. Keeping it on the ground.
Short run right there inside the Bird. I think that was who came in the football game.
Quayshawn Bird, junior out of Palm Coast, Florida. He's in the backfield with his quarterback, Akevius Williams.
He's got the same kind of speed, Charlie, that we've been talking about regarding Raekwon Smith.
Well, look at that one-handed catch, and still on his feet and down to the 35-yard line. For a big gain goes Taron Mallett.
That's the big junior tight end. Boy, he did stuck that big mitt out there.
He certainly did. Big catch. He had the last touchdown reception. The last time the Wildcats had the ball that put them within 1 in this contest. He has a couple of receptions in this game. And now here's a pass on the near side, and is caught for some yardage, and that's Francois. Stephon Francois with the catch.
Making his presence for the first time, as you said, Charlie, but being a factor in this football game. And you're noticing that Norfolk State is running a delayed blitz with the run game, and so they better be very careful on the back end.
And a reception again on the near side at the 25-yard line. At the 25-yard line, and his first down. Bethune Cookman. Williams back to throw, and a flag is down on the far sideline.
I don't know what that might be. It came in from the side judge.
Our referee, Robert Frazier.
Legal shift.
Illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield, offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
So illegal formation.
Yeah, they came out. You've got to have 4 people in the backfield. And that time somebody was, an extra person was off the line of scrimmage. And so the flag came out really quickly for formation violation.
25 points a game is what Bethune Cookman is averaging, giving up 24 points per contest. Ranked 5th in the conference in scoring and back to pass as Williams throws, and it's caught right at about the 10-yard line and out of bounds. This time goes Marcus Riley on the reception.
Marcus Riley, the sophomore out of Tallahassee, Ricketts, Florida, transfer in from University of Louisville. He's a 4-star athlete and a really great football player.
And they're strike, and strike again, right? Almost like those Rattlers down there, but these are the Wildcats striking. Trying to turn the corner on the far sideline, and a late flag comes in. We may get roughing or unnecessary roughness, not roughing, but unnecessary roughness on Jimmy Robinson.
That's that fly sweep again, trying to get the football to Jimmy any kind of way you can.
Illegal block in the back, offense number 5. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
It wasn't a roughing or unnecessary roughness.
Nope.
It was illegal block in the back.
And that'll back the Wildcats up in a promising drive.
Didn't they call that on Bird?
Yeah, it looks like they called it on number 5. They said 5, Quayshawn Bird. Both young men are from Flagler Palm Coast High School. There's a standing debate of who's the fastest between those two.
So it's 1st and goal at the 17-yard line. We talked about the first time these two teams played was 1976, and who was in that game? A guy named Lynn Thompson, who's the athletic director here at Bethune Cookman. The first time these two teams played, was that in New York?
In Yankee Stadium. Whitney M. Young Classic.
1976, the first time these two teams met each other. And I think at that time, CIAA was where Norfolk State was. The SIC is where Bethune Cookman was.
Little did they know the future would bring them closer together.
Yes, indeed. Here's a pass on the near side, and it has a complete. And still running is Spain, and he's run out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. That'll bring up a 4th down.
And go third down, I think, Charlie.
Was it third?
Yeah, 3rd and goal.
Third.
3rd and goal from the 14. See what the Wildcats do. They put Mallard back in, the big tight end. He's had a very impressive first half of the football game, making some big plays, catching a touchdown, and then that incredible one-hand catch to sustain this drive.
Well, let's see what happens on this 3rd down. The ball at about the 19-yard line, 14-yard line. They have to get into the end zone. Here's breaking tackles and running and trying to get to the corner and not being able to get into the end zone. But a good run that time by the quarterback, Akevius Williams. You know, you talk about some of the fleet-footed quarterbacks that they've had here at Bethune-Cookman, and people like Patel Trotman and Alan Suber and people like that. Where do you, and you've been around this program a long time, where do you put Akevius Williams?
Well, he's in the same classification. He might be the fastest of all of them.
Oh, he's got size. He's the biggest of all of them.
We know that.
He's 6'3".
we know, and he has an excellent set of wheels on him. But Charlie, he would have played very well if he was in a wide bone. I'm telling you, this kid has that kind of ability. You have to respect his leg and his legs, and he can throw the football as well. But that's some pretty good company. Patel Troutman, Alan Suba, you can make a pretty good living with those two.
Yeah, but they was short. They could hide behind little linemen, right?
They really could. They really could hide behind linemen really well. They threw the football fairly well as well. But Akevius has come into his own right and really just unfortunately got hurt last year against North Carolina A&T. But he was having an outstanding season. I think he's starting to play himself into a really pretty good senior season.
Oh, that's great to hear. This is the first game ever played by Bethune-Cookman was 1925. They played it in Miami against Alabama A&M.
How about that?
Here's trying to turn the corner, and into the end zone goes, guess who?
There's that guy again. Mama, that's a bad man right there.
It certainly is. And we talked about the quarterbacks and what these people have been able to do here at Bethune-Cookman University and Akevius Williams. And, again, for him rushing, that is his 8th rushing touchdown of the season.
Charlie puts so much pressure on the defense. You know, you've got to find him. And he's laterally quick. He's just a threat every time.
McDonald for the point after. The last one was blocked, and he misses this one. So there's 2 PATs missed in this particular contest, and it's a 19-14 ball game with 1:59 to go. And we look at it once again. There's the big catch by the tight end, putting the big paw up there, Mallard, as they drove down the field. And, again, this is part of that scoring drive. Here we go to the outside with Riley. And then Akevius Williams tried to get to the corner, couldn't get around, knocked out of bounds, but he does get in the end zone this time. Yep. So 1:59 is the time remaining, and we have a 5-point ball game. Williams, he's thrown a touchdown pass, 2 touchdown passes, and he's run one in.
And, almost in the tradition of the New England Patriots, this is you score just before halftime and you get the kickoff to start the second half. So it's almost like 2 for 1 if you're able to hold the Spartans right here.
62-yard drive. And this one in the end zone for a touchback. So last two possessions for Bethune have put them in the end zone. Now let's see what Norfolk State can do with a minute 59 to go and getting the ball at their own 25. They're 75 yards away from the end zone. But more importantly, can they get in position to even kick a field goal?
Yeah, that would help their cause also.
And they have a pretty good field goal kicker in Josh Nardone, who's perfect so far this year in field goals, 3 of 3, and he's long was a 44-yarder. It came against Norfolk State. Back to pass is Carter on first down, throws. Tried to set up a little screen to the right side, and he had his linemen out there and everybody ready to go upfield, but just couldn't get it going.
Well, you got to make that connection first. Good idea. Poor execution by the Spartans right there. Don't take much time off the clock either with that, Charlie. 2nd and 10, clock stops with a minute 55 to go.
Talked about the job this offensive line has done. Brandon Torrey is the coach of the offensive line, former Howard University All-American. Played for Ray Petty there at Howard, and there's a pass complete on the far sideline and out of bounds in front of his own bench. That stops the clock. It's not a first down, I don't believe.
No, it doesn't. No. But it's a good completion for about 8 yards there. He hits the wide receiver outside there, and he's able to tightrope up the line a little bit to get within 2 yards of the 1st and 10. Minute 49 to go.
Again, Juwan Carter.
Is it Bethune call timeout or?
They're trying to get the chains together. He's having a problem with the chain gang on the far sideline.
Okay. I didn't see a timeout signal given, but I did hear the referee say something.
Play clock is running down. Plenty of time before they have to snap it. Raekwon Smith to the left of his quarterback in the backfield for Norfolk State. Outside, we got a first down gain. That'll stop the clock to move the chains.
Big tight end.
And that is Sean McFarland, the junior out of Selden, New York, on the reception.
McFarland with the reception. Peters making the stop for the Cat.
McElhenney's on the near side.
Both teams have timeouts, Tolly, so that's a good thing for both of them.
Carter throws, long throw all the way across field, and it is caught for a first down at the midfield stripe. So the clock continues to run. He did not get out of bounds, but the clock stops to move the chains, and then they'll wind it as soon as the chains are set. A minute 18 the time remaining. Right at midfield is where they are. And there's the reception to Mallett. Going downfield, there's another one, and getting out of bounds on the near side this time is Justin Smith, his first reception of the day.
Good-looking throw that time. They semi-rolled to the left, and Smith had one-on-one coverage. He beat the safety that time in the slot to the sideline, and the Spartans are already down to the 30-yard line with 1:07 left to go in the half.
They're in field goal range, I would say. 44 yards, the long for Nardone. Let's see what they do with it. Little swing pass out of the backfield and out of bounds. They push Raekwon Smith. That stops the clock.
Yeah, not much of a gain. That was one of the plays that they scored on earlier.
A gain of 1.
Do a better job there on that, picking up 1.
1:03. That's the time remaining in the half. Raekwon Smith behind his quarterback or beside his quarterback on the left side. And we had movement. Let's see if it's going to be a false start or offsides against Bethune.
Offsides, defense, causing offensive man to react. 5-yard penalty.
It was Bethune Cookman.
Well, anytime you are in that neutral zone, Charlie, offense or defense, if one or the other reacts, they're going to probably call that and went against the Wildcats that time.
So the ball spotted at the 24 of Bethune Cookman. It's time to keep it on the ground and down to the 20-yard line and close to another first down is Raekwon Smith.
Still not using a timeout. That clock is running, too. Inside of 40 seconds right now. 30, just a little bit.
And timeouts you have.
Yeah,
don't put them in your pocket because you can't use them in the second half.
That's what I'm saying.
It is 3rd down and 1. And may not get it.
No, they're giving it to him on the forward progress.
Maybe the forward progress. And that'll stop the clock and move the chains.
That is their second team timeout of the half.
And they're going to call a timeout. Did they give him the first down?
They got the 1st and 10.
Well, they haven't moved the chains yet on the far sideline.
Well, let's see.
And Norfolk State does call a timeout. They're saying 4th down.
Timeout for a measurement.
Oh, they're going to measure. Okay, timeout for measurement. I know they had moved the chains, and the down marker is saying 4th.
Well, he signaled timeout to Norfolk State. The referee did on the sideline. I thought he was giving indication to move the sticks, but they'll bring it in right now, and it's not much. If either they have it or they're short by just a little bit.
But more importantly, there's only 26 seconds remaining before halftime in a 5-point ball game here in Daytona Beach. So let's see how close they are to getting the first down, or did they get it? The referee has going to have to put a card down there. Looks like Gene's territory.
Pretty close.
Yeah, he did not get it.
I thought he was making a signal that he had gotten it. Then he took a second look to get down there and to see, but it's very, very close.
I mean, it's all you need is probably as thin as a piece of paper.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now. The Spartans requested a timeout and got the timeout, which leaves them with 1 on the board, Charlie.
Now, what would you do in that situation? You got 26 seconds to go. Do you go ahead and kick the field goal or do the field goal attempt? Suppose you don't make it. You want to come away with something.
Yeah, well, both of these coaches tonight, we've seen the Bethune go on 2 occasions. And Latrell Scott, the ball's in his court right now. I don't see any action on the part of the kicking unit coming out to attempt a field goal. So
well, Norfolk State does have 1 timeout remaining.
Yeah, they took 1 just then, so it's 1 left.
And again, if they kick the field goal from here, it's at the 20. It'll be a 37-yard attempt. So let's see what they do with it. On this 4th down, they're going to go for it. They go straight ahead, and it's Raekwon Smith. No problems getting the first down, and he stopped at the 18.
And that first down will stop the clock.
And they call their final timeout.
Norfolk State, that is their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
They just called their final timeout with 21 seconds to go. So now you have a little more room to play with it. The thing is, you can't take a sack. And if you have any completions, you got to get to the out of bounds or get out of bounds to stop the clock.
Well, I thought they lost a timeout right there because if it was that close, he should have requested a measurement first and kept that second timeout in his pocket. But in using that timeout and then getting the first down and having to use your last timeout, now you got to get that football out of your hands because there's no guarantee that you'll be able to rush the kicker out on the football field and be able to get off a field goal. So,
like I said, you can't afford to take a sack.
No, you cannot.
And if, they're one of these situations where
and even running the
do
football,
or die, right?
Even running the football, Charlie, you really have to ask yourself, what do you do with that?
Well, you've got some good receivers out there. You've got Justin Smith in the slot. You've got McEllington on the far side. And here's a run straight ahead. They're going to keep it on the ground. They're going to try to get up, maybe clock it. With 15 seconds to go, they try to line it up. Quarterback gets the ball, and he clocks it. So that stops the clock with 9 seconds.
Now, do you risk another play here, or do you go?
I wouldn't, but
Let's see. They're bringing a package in here right now.
They did not throw the ball. They ran the ball. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, but that's why I was saying you're not having that timeout that you would have had in your pocket. You risk running a play, so even getting to the football and resetting takes up time.
Anthony Williams on the near side. Back to throw toward the corner. and pushing down there, and it goes incomplete, so now you bring on the field goal unit.
You have no choice right now.
4.4 seconds, the time remaining, and that'll bring on Josh Nardone Jr. out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. 3 for 3 in field goals so far this season. This kick will be a 29-yard attempt. He hit a 29-yarder earlier this year. That came against Virginia State.
Bethune has had a penchant for blocking kicks in recent years. See what happens right here.
Blocked. You just said it. You were a man of vision, Larry.
Well, they've done a great job with that over the years.
So that ends the half, and not a bad way to end the half for the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. Blocking a field goal attempt of Josh Nardone. That's the first attempt he's had blocked this year. Like I said, he was 3 of 3 coming into today's ball game. So as we go to the halftime and we look at the block kick by the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman, the Wildcats lead it by 5, 19-14, here on this MEAC Digital Network broadcast on ESPN.
No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Back here in Daytona Beach, we're at halftime where Bethune-Cookman has a 19-14 lead over Norfolk State. We're on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3, and we're going to step away for a moment. But before we do, we want you to take a look at one of the crown jewels of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, a place founded on faith and anchored in history. We're talking about none other than Bethune-Cookman University.
Signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Historically, black colleges and universities around the country are known for producing some of the best talent to come through the college ranks and on to the National Football League. What many may not know is the fact that those talented student athletes were coached by legendary coaches who not only changed their lives, but helped change the landscape of college football. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference is proud to document and showcase some of these football coaching legends, including today's feature on a man who was not only a legend in the HBCU ranks, but he was the first African-American to coach football in the ACC. His name is Bill Hayes.
I always knew that I wanted to be a football coach. I always knew that I wanted to be in that environment. Being a pioneer in the Atlantic Coast Conference, being the first black coach at Wake Forest University was a pivotal moment in my life. And the thing about it for me was that I was determined that I was going to coach at a high level. And so I took it very seriously because I knew that I had really a whole race of people and a whole generation of coaches behind me. And I know you don't make bargains with God, but I did. And I just asked him to put me in a position to have a chance to compete. So when I got to Winston-Salem Stadium, my first opportunity to be a head football coach, no way I'm going to lose. No way that I'm not going to accept and take that program to a high level. I don't have any regrets for the course that I took when I decided to leave Wake Forest and go the HBCU route, and because I touched so many lives. I used to hang around Jake Gaither and Eddie Robinson and all those great, I wish they were here today because they needed to be celebrated, and they weren't. So I feel very honored and proud that I'm here representing black college football. I'm representing all the giants that I had an opportunity to be around, matriculating through this game of life called football.
T-Mobile's network connects baseball fans across the league. Introducing our newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
You're watching the MEAC right here on ESPN3. Charlie Neal along with Larry Wesley, and we're courtside, field side, in the booth, wherever.
We're right here, right?
In Daytona Beach, Florida. And Larry, when you talk about the first half and you look at some of the mistakes Norfolk State made, of course, they were ahead 14-7, had an opportunity probably to increase that lead, but then they muffed the punt. Daytona Beach, Bethune Cookman goes back down the field. They score. They get the extra point block, but more importantly, they pull it within one. Then they get the ball back again. They score. They go ahead. They lead it by 5 right now as we start the second half.
And then to close the half out, they block a field goal from point-blank range, which would have been points for the Spartans. And the Wildcats get the football to start the second half of this football game.
Well, it should be interesting to see what they come up with in terms of trying to get some points on the board quickly. We talked about team scoring in certain parts of the game. Bethune Cookman has not done well in the first quarter, but in the third quarter, they've scored 43 points in contests so far in the third quarter.
Well, it's been a money quarter for them so far this year, but again, this is one of these heated conference games. All of them are rivalries, if you ask me, in the conference, because the weight of the games are so important. And so we'll find out right away what Bethune has in mind with the electricity of Jimmy Robinson.
Well, he's the man that's deep, the very dangerous Jimmy Robinson, averaging 28 yards per kickoff return, and he has it right now. Up the gut he goes, straight down the middle, and he's dropped just shy of the 30-yard line. They'll mark him down right at the 30-yard line, and that's where Bethune Cookman will go to work to start the second half here in Daytona Beach. And some of the things that stand out in your mind when you look at stats from the first half, they're pretty even game. Norfolk State with 249 total yards, and Bethune Cookman with 238.
But they're sort of getting it done in reverse order. But the Spartans have run it 23 times for 132 yards, and Bethune is throwing it for 198 yards. 15 of 22 at Kevis Williams, but only 40 yards on the ground on 18 attempts for the Wildcats. So they're going to have to up that.
Does that surprise you, 198 yards passing
it really
for
does.
Bethune Cookman?
A little out of character.
This time they come back on a counter play, and they come to the left side with Isaac Washington, and Isaac Washington into the secondary and down to the 40-yard line of Norfolk State.
Well, that's one way to get the running game going. And that time what they did, they ran a zone read, but they ran it to the outside off the left tackle there, and he got space, get it down to the 40-yard line.
Isaac Washington in the first half with 36 yards rushing. He just added to that total on that play, and he just picks up three more yards on this run, maybe 4.
More that time, RPO looked inside that time directly behind the center guard, A-gap right there rushing. He gets about 3.5, maybe 4 yards, second and about 6.
And it's to the right of his quarterback, Kevis Williams. Williams calling signals, and we're going to get offsides.
Free play.
Looks like it's going to be offsides against Norfolk State. I believe that was Blackwell.
Kind of mistakes that drive coaching staff, when you're right on top of the ball, you're not even looking in. You're on top of the center, and so you give them 5 yards and set up a second and now less than 1.
Ball moved down to the 31 of Norfolk State.
Second and a yard.
Both teams penalized 4 times in the first half, so they've done a pretty good job of keeping the officials' flags in their pocket. I already warned them I had a flight in the morning early. That running play doesn't go anywhere. There's a bunch of white jerseys are there, led by Chavis and Harden defensively for the Spartans.
Run blitz that time by the Spartans. They're bringing their backers up, the 2 backers up into the A-gap, and they're creating run blitzes right there. That's why the RPO is so successful sometimes over the attacking linebacker.
And again, Isaac Washington is the lone setback in motion. They cut Mallard, and again they give it to Washington, and Washington has plenty of yards for the first down. They move the chains down to the 23-yard line.
And coming out of the game, will I be Isaac Washington, and they'll substitute real quickly with the Wildcats with Quayshawn Bird.
The running game is picked up here for the Wildcats. And here's Akevius Williams, keeps the ball, throws it in the end zone, and it's going to be a flag thrown down. Not sure if it's a good penalty. Well, we'll look and see once again.
Well, if you don't give up the touchdown, Charlie, and it's not a spot foul in college, so they bring it back to the line of scrimmage, it'll be half the distance to the goal if, in fact, it is defensive interference.
Bobby Price was the man down there defending.
I think they were throwing for Jimmy Robinson.
They were trying to get Jimmy Robinson, but I thought the ball was inside. Let's see if we can see it again and see, what do you think? Is it pass interference?
He got there a little early, I believe. Let's see. He's reaching. Yeah, he's impeding the progress.
Actually, the defender was Chevalier Williams, number 11, the sophomore out of Granby High in Norfolk, Virginia. But more importantly, first and goal at the 8-yard line for the Wildcats of Bethune Cookman. Quayshawn Bird Jr. out of Palm Coast, Florida. He's in the backfield. Moves behind to the left side of his quarterback, and the quarterback pulls it out and throws it in the end zone. It's way overthrown.
Getting good pressure that time on the defensive side by Kyron Speller, the lineman. Number 12 coming inside and getting pressure on Akevius. He had to throw the football a little earlier than he wanted to in the back of the end zone, out of the end zone.
He was sacked 3 times in the first half. In fact, both quarterbacks have been sacked in this contest. Both have been sacked 3 times. So Akevius trying to stay away from being sacked once again. And it'll bring up a second down and goal. Ball spotted at the 8-yard line of Norfolk State. Leading by 5, 19-14. We're in the third quarter. 12:43 the time remaining. Robinson in motion to the near side. Akevius Williams rolling to the right side. Throws, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, he threw it away. He had nothing there. They flooded the right side. They rolled to the right, and they had option routes, both shallow, medium, and in the back of the end zone. Nothing was available, so wise to throw it away and not risk throwing into coverage right there. You're at the 10-yard, inside of the 10-yard line. So there's a big third down and goal right now.
Ike Washington is in the backfield with his quarterback. Darryl Powell goes all the way to the top, the far side of the field.
Powell 6'4".
Williams back to pass. A little heat back there. Now he's going to roll out to the right side, may be able to run it. And now he throws it. And it's incomplete. He tried to get it to his running back, who was standing right in front of him.
Yeah, Isaac was blocking for him.
Ike Washington, and Ike Washington said, "Why are you throwing it to me?" It was like a hot potato.
Right.
He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, they were fortunate that did not end up any worse for the Wildcats. Great drive, but now they're going to try to settle for 3, and real tough kicking game so far for Javier McDonald. He's missed 2 extra points here, and
let's see what he does on the field goal. He has not missed a field goal this year. He's 2 of 2 in field goals, as long as a 39-yarder against Morgan State, and this one will be a 25-yard field goal attempt. And this one is up, and it is good. So McDonald with the 25-yard field goal adds to the lead.
Yep, gets the Wildcats a little more. Wildcats a little more lead, 22-14, but that was a promising drive that the Wildcats had to settle for 3.
Okay, timeout on the field. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network right here on ESPN3 with Bethune Cookman leading 22-14 over Norfolk State. 12:21 left third quarter. Welcome back to MEAC Digital Football. Right here on ESPN3, Charlie Neal, Larry Wesley. You look at some comparative stats. A lot of these stats show these teams match pretty evenly, Larry.
Absolutely.
Scoring offense, scoring defense, run offense, run defense. penalties is one thing Bethune-Cookman has not done a very good job of this year. They're dead last in terms of yards per game and penalties, but they've done a pretty good job in this contest so far.
Yeah, they've been able to keep the football game pretty clean so far. You like clean football games, Charlie, because they have a better flow to the football game. When you have markers and penalties, it's always disjointed, and you don't seem to get a good rhythm. But both teams have done a pretty good job moving the football up and down the football field. A lot of football left, though.
All right, Bethune-Cookman came in preseason to finish second in the conference, while the Spartans were picked to finish seventh as they keep the ball on the ground with Raekwon Smith going off the right side, and he gets across the 30, a gain of 6 yards to the 31-yard line.
Picking up right where he left off, the freshman doing an outstanding job running the football. They get 7 right off the bat, running the RPO look, and they're running more downhill than they are trying to get to the edge.
It is second down. We'll call it 4. Again, they keep the ball on the ground, but nowhere to run that time as the running back is swallowed up.
Yeah, that time Big Jerome Howard in there, one of the 2 tackles for the Wildcats, with a good run support that time, and he knocked the Spartans back for a 2-yard loss. Third down now. The line to make is the 35-yard line, 5 yards needed.
Yeah, Jerome Howard's known for tackles for losses, sophomore out of Sarasota, Florida. Quick pass on the outside, comes to the near side on a first down gain for the Spartans of Norfolk State. And again, Raekwon Smith, the freshman out of Highland Springs High in Richmond, Virginia, comes away with the reception.
What they're doing are putting a lot of pressure on the Wildcat linebacking crew, which is a really good linebacking crew, but utilizing the backs out of the backfield. We've talked about Smith's ability to run and speed, but he's also a wonderful receiver out of the backfield.
Carter doing a pretty good job. Came into today's game second in school's career passing yards behind Aaron Sparrow, who did it between 92 and 95. They hand the ball off that time. Came in needing 2,991 yards for passing and 2199 for total offense. That record, again, held by Aaron Sparrow. And, of course, Carter's just a junior, so he has another year to do it.
And he's got a lot of young people around him,
yes,
as we're seeing right now. They had replaced the entire receiving corps from last year, and this young group of receivers are doing a wonderful job along with the backs.
1,638 yards passing this year coming into today's contest. Back to pass again, throwing outside. That should be intercepted, and it's not. Good job by the receiver to make sure it wasn't intercepted.
Yeah, he turned into an outstanding defensive back that time because that one had INT written all over it.
Yeah, that was Henry Miller, the second, who had his hands on it, had a chance to pull it down and just couldn't.
Yeah, and Henry's playing a really good football game for the Wildcats tonight. He, as I said, a transfer from University of Pittsburgh last year and had a great year. And Terry Sims and the defensive staff are counting on him to continue his fine play.
Yeah, Charlie Jones, the defensive coordinator, really high on that young man. Back to pass again. Carter throws incomplete. Trying to get it to Justin Smith. Justin could not hold on. He's a redshirt junior from Benedictine Prep up in Richmond.
And Carter's a very accurate passer. He really, you get lured with his lured by his speed with running the football, but he's a very, very, very accurate passer. Being in the program for 3 years, he knows where to go with the football because he has a great understanding of the Spartan offense.
So back to punt it once again for the Spartans. Ryan Richter. Fair catch called and made. That time, Spain. And it'll be a first down, Bethune-Cookman, when we return. You're watching MEAC Football on the digital network right here on ESPN3. Welcome back to MEAC Football right here on ESPN3. Charlie Neal and Larry Wesley in Daytona Beach, and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats with an 8-point lead keep the ball on the ground and run to the left side. Picks up enough for a first down.
11, 12 yards. That's a fly sweep again that they run. Block it really well on the edge there, and they get the football to Jimmy Robinson. He's always a threat to go to the house.
2 backs in the backfield with the quarterback, and it's Robinson again trying to sweep to the left side, turns the corner, and run out of bounds in front of the Norfolk State bench. But he does pick up about, let's see where they mark it. They're only going to give him about 2 yards on that run.
I'll give him about 6, Charlie. Well, let's see. You're right. I moved it back. I was wondering why they were way up that.
Yeah, only about 2 yards on that one.
Oh,
Ball spotted at about the 23-yard line. Jimmy Robinson comes to the sideline right now. It is 2nd down, 2nd and 8. Off the left side, they run it again, and they get the first down. They're keeping the ball on the ground, and they're doing a good job of moving the chains with Kashawn Bird on the carry that time.
Well, they're running it out of the 2-back set, and before they had Jimmy in lined up in the backfield, remember, he's been playing at the wide receiver spot, so now they're going with 2 backs, and it makes it really difficult to find them.
Washington and Bird. Here's Bird in motion. The handoff to Washington. He's into the secondary, and he has about 5 yards.
That's that RPO look right there, but they're doing it out of 2-back sets. So they're giving you some eye candy. They're going with the motion and then coming back with the counter to the running back on the left side. Good yardage there.
And what is even more importantly, Larry, is the fact that they're eating up clock.
Yes, they are.
With the ground game. Not putting the ball in the air. Arkevius Williams keeps it this time, has the first down, and runs out of bounds right in front of the Norfolk State bench off the left side.
Well, now you're factoring Kevius with his legs, and they faked it that time inside to Bird. Bird goes through leading the quarterback, and Kevius takes it outside to the first down marker up to about the 43-yard line. Bethune has driven this ball from their 8 out to the 44.
Now here's Jimmy Robinson back in the lineup now to the right of his quarterback. Washington to the left. Williams calling the signals. Williams back to pass now. Throws it out of the flat. And it's Jimmy Robinson on the reception. And a flag.
Face mask.
Comes down.
There's a marker down.
Yeah, they took his helmet off. So I would say that's probably face mask.
Yeah.
But he still has to sit out, doesn't he, play, even though his helmet?
If it comes off because of a penalty, he can go back into the game.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 22.
He's going back.
Yeah, he can stay in there.
In spite of foul, number 1 is eligible to stay in the game because the foul causes the helmet to come off. First down.
But he is coming out, even though he's eligible to stay in the game.
And now they're going to bring the big back in, Ladarian Wilson, number 27. He's out of Kissimmee, Florida. He's a transfer from up your way, Charlie, at Maryland, University of Maryland.
Yeah, St. Cloud, Florida. Has not seen any action this evening up until now. But he's in there at number 27, 6'5", 210-pound junior.
He's a 6-time all-time leading rusher in high school football in Florida.
And he has the ball working the right side, turns the corner, down inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. Goes Ladarian Wilson.
Yeah, he's a big back and runs with his pad, good level with his pads down low, and boy, he delivers a blow rather than take the blow.
Oh, you can see it. And like I said, he's a big one. I'm looking at number 74.
Yeah, I was wondering where he was going.
Nicholas Roos. He was lined up as a wide receiver. Yeah. He's an offensive lineman at 315 pounds.
Give me some of that rock.
He's where he's supposed to be now on the line of scrimmage.
Play clock got a little bit low, so they took the time out to the Wildcats.
So Bethune-Cookman takes some time out. They're going to step and talk things over. But while we got this chance, we talk about the fact that a big game tomorrow in the MEAC, A&T down at Tallahassee to play Florida A&M. A&T is ranked 10th in the nation in the FCS Top 25 poll. They're ranked 11th in the coaches poll, but number 1 in the box-to-row poll. Bethune-Cookman ranked 2nd in that same box-to-row poll. FAMU's 4th and South Carolina State 6th. And so we're looking for a good game. It's A&T's only conference loss, you remember, Larry, last year was to FAMU in Greensboro. And the Aggies have the nation's leading running back going into tomorrow's game in yards per carry and scoring in Jermaine Martin, 742 yards so far for him and 11 touchdowns. But then FAMU has the co-offensive player of the week in the quarterback Ryan Stanley, who broke Quinn Gray's school record for passing yards over 7,700.
Going to be strength on strength, Charlie. And Martin's a transfer out of Coastal Carolina. Interestingly, that game last year in Greensboro was affected by weather, and same thing happening this year.
They were supposed to play it today, but because of the tropical storm Nestor, they decided to move it to tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. And then they had the big game in Orangeburg today. Was homecoming for South Carolina State. They came away with a 24-10 win over Morgan State. Here's Akevius Williams. It may have been a mix-up on that particular play. He looked like he wanted to hand it to somebody. Nobody was there, so he just took off and ran to save time and off to the right side.
And they called a procedure. You were so right, Charlie. It was 2nd and 2. The Wildcats shooting themselves in the foot.
Illegal formation.
The formation
5 minutes in
again.
the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
With these RPO formations, sometimes you out-cute yourself, and you got a good drive going. You wonder, why don't you just stay with what you're doing?
Right.
But we start, you sort of put yourself in a bind. You're now 2nd down and about 7 yards to go, as opposed to
short yardage. Yeah. And say congratulations to Buddy Pugh with that win today. He becomes the winningest coach ever at South Carolina State, surpasses his old buddy.
Yes, he does.
Willie Jeffries.
His former coach. What a great guy, Buddy Pugh.
And they keep the ball on the ground again, this time trying to cut to the right side and inside the 20. There's Ladarian Wilson on the carry.
That's the big back.
He's a load.
Yeah, he likes to be fed. Give him that rock.
Like the Ezekiel type, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Keep feeding it to me.
Give the big dog some food.
And he's still in there to the right side of his quarterback, Akevius Williams. And he has the ball. Ladarian straight ahead. A helmet comes off of the head of Roos. So he's going to have to come out for one play. The left tackle, number 74, 6'7", 315. He's a mountain, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from Daytona Beach, Florida, right here at Mainland High School. Kid who's really persevered really, really well. He's been, this is actually his 6th year, but he has been playing great football for the Wildcats.
6 years?
He was injured
when
he came
okay.
out of high school. Yeah,
I was going to say.
Yeah. He got 2 medicals, Charlie.
Okay, thank you. For clearing that one up.
Right. He's like, is he on a pro contract? Second time out by Bethune-Cookman.
Bethune-Cookman. That is their second team timeout.
They have 2, 5:17 left here in the third quarter. So Bethune-Cookman takes another timeout, and they have 1 remaining. Hopefully it won't come back to haunt them in the fourth quarter.
That's those things, like you said earlier, they're precious.
Yes, they are.
You don't want to. You certainly can't take them to halftime, but you need them more in the second half. You want to have some when you do need them in the fourth quarter. But hopefully that won't come to fruition. But you're in the red zone right now. You just had a great run to get you 2nd and 5. So it's imperative that the Wildcats cash in right here.
Well, you look at the standings right now in the MEAC. We talked about North Carolina A&T 2-0, and South Carolina State coming out a winner today. They're now 2-1 as far as conference play is concerned. Norfolk State 1-2. They just snapped a 4-game losing streak a week ago when they beat Howard University. Howard University, they are still struggling a little bit. They only win came against Delaware State earlier this season. They are off this week, and then of course Morgan State 1-3 with a loss today to South Carolina State. So there's the standings, how they stand as far as the MEAC is concerned. Florida A&M 3-0, South Carolina State 3-0. I mean, to 2-1, and then Bethune. There's almost a sack and a throwaway by the quarter Akevius Williams. A lot of pressure up front on him by Tavian Blackwell.
Yeah, good pressure that time by the front of the Spartans, they've been consistently getting the job done all night long there. Kevius fortunate to avoid an intentional grounding
He certainly
call
was.
there.
He certainly was.
He really was. He was in the grass. You know, the quarterback's got to have a clock in his head, Charlie. That thing has got, you're holding a grenade. You got to get it out of your hand.
It'll blow you up, right?
Right.
Isaac Washington back there. Here's Williams with a little shuffle pass. Tried to get it to Williams, but it was Harden was right there, the man on the spot, number 55, Cephas Harden, a senior, who had the 11 tackles. It lead the team a week ago up in Washington, D.C.
Well, that's going to force another field goal by Javier McDonald here. And
remember, this drive started at their own 8-yard line. They're down to the 12. And here comes a field goal attempt. It'll be a 29-yard attempt. This one is up, and this one is good. So from 29 yards out, a field goal by McDonald, his second straight field goal, and the lead increases by 3 more points. It's now 25-14 with 4:21 remaining.
We got a mark on the field.
But there's
here.
a penalty marker down. Let's wait and see what this penalty mark is all about.
Give us a signal.
After the play, the result of the play is the score. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 7. That is number 7's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the contest.
That was Bobby Price. We'll step aside. You're watching the MEAC Digital broadcast right here on ESPN3.
Most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
You're watching the MEAC on ESPN3. Charlie Neal, Larry Wesley in Daytona Beach for this MEAC matchup between Norfolk State and Bethune-Cookman. Norfolk State led 14-7, but since that time, 18 unanswered points scored by the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman here at home. Only their second home game of the year. They only will play 3 home games. They had one because of Hurricane, what was it, Dorian?
Right, Hurricane Dorian.
That washed out an early season game against Southeast Louisiana State.
Right.
And then they play here. They played one other game here earlier this year. They play here tonight, and then next week is homecoming against South Carolina State. That's it, because the remainder of the schedule, they got the Florida Classic, which will be in Orlando, and then the other games are on the road.
Well, they get homecoming next week against South Carolina
Right.
State. They go through the bye the first week of November, and then
Right.
2 consecutive road games. And if you count the Classic, it will be 3, because that will be the 3rd weekend in Orlando.
Right, November 9th, they play at Delaware State, at A&T on the 16th, and then Florida A&M in Orlando on the 23rd of November. First down and 10 for the Spartans of Norfolk State. Again, they're you look at, since they scored, their last 4 drives ended in a punt, a blocked field goal, a punt, and now this is their 4th possession since then, second here in the second half.
Yeah, they ran inside that time for little or no gain. In fact, it's 2nd and 10.
Back to pass. Carter has it complete, and a first down is gained across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. So it's a 17-yard gain, but a penalty marker is down in the backfield. It's in the vicinity of, holding.
Offense,
Yes.
number 77.
When you see a couple of big guys standing around
Right.
and there's no skilled people back there, that's not a good sign.
Well, when the umpire throws it normally, or the C in this case, it's the C official, they call him now, because the umpire is still on the back by the linebackers.
Right.
But if he's the guy who's opposite the referee in the backfield, when he throws it, that was against Kenneth Kirby, redshirt junior out of Fork Union High, Newport News, Virginia. Preseason second-team all-conference selection, call for the holding penalty, and that'll move the ball back all the way down to the 15-yard line.
Second and a long one.
Yeah, a lot of real estate they have to get out here. Here's Carter, throws, has it complete on the far sideline, and some of that yardage is gained back with that reception. And on the reception was Ellington.
Makes it a more manageable third down, Charlie. Gets about 10 yards or 12 yards of that back. And third down and now about, let's call it 7 yards needed.
So Marcus Ellington, redshirt junior from Neptune, New Jersey. Couple catches for him tonight.
This is the big play right here.
It is third down, third and about 7.
27-yard line.
Carter throws, has the first down, and has it complete on the far sideline, and it's McElhenney on the reception.
It's a good job by Norfolk State overcoming the negative yardage following the holding and able to get that 1st and 10 out to the 40-yard line. You know, a lot of defenses like to try to get off that field on third down, but Spartans did a better job. He did a better job that time.
Of course you do. You want to get off the field. Give your offense the ball back. Running off the left side is Kevin Johnson. Johnson across midfield and very close to another first down for the Spartans. Here's Kevin Johnson. Preseason third-team all-conference selection. He was a walk-on, a 2-time Rookie of the Week. He's a freshman. 84-yard run for a touchdown. He did that against Montana State. He had 112 yards rushing in that contest at Montana State earlier this season.
Highly impressed with this bevy of running backs that the Spartans have.
And Savage is not even here tonight. He didn't make the trip. Hewlett didn't play last week, but he is playing tonight. Here's a pass on the near side, and it's complete to McElhenney. Tylen McElhenney once again, the 6'2 junior from Virginia Beach.
Wildcat down on the field here. Injury timeout. See if I can get a number.
Number 44 is down for the Wildcats. That's Marcus Reeves, junior out of Miami.
He's a little nicked up with a shoulder injury, I think, that he sustained a few weeks ago, and so they were thinking he might be ready to go. But right now the medical staff attending to him out on the football field.
You know, we talked about these teams in the Celebration Bowl and how important it is for them to get there. Back in 1999, the MEAC sent 3 teams to the postseason playoffs: FAMU, A&T, Hampton. It was a great year in the MEAC and football history. Of course, A&T had Bill Hayes. He was the coach of the year. They were the MEAC champions. They were 8-0. Jawan Sider, remember him from FAMU, player of the year on offense, and Deion Hunt from Hampton was the defensive player of the year. So there's been some history, some great players who have come out of the MEAC. We talked about the fact that I think there's 15 players playing in the NFL currently as of tomorrow morning or tomorrow, right, in the NFL that are MEAC alums.
This goes to show you, Charlie, if you can play, they'll find you.
They'll find you. Here's the running back again, bouncing off the right side and still on his feet and out of bounds goes Kevin Johnson for the Spartans. So they're trying to get something going here with 1:30 to go here in the third quarter.
Great job of running that time by Johnson. Again, the Wildcats don't set the edge. He makes a great move to avoid a defender and then high steps out of bounds. But not until he has first and 10 down at the 21-yard line.
And that's the most important thing. He gained some yardage, and here he goes again. Cuts it back inside, bounces it to the outside, and finally brought down with a shoulder tackle.
Well, he's quick. I tell you, that's a quick move right there. And the Spartans are getting it done on the ground inside. Another quick, he puts his foot on the ground real well there and changes directions. Almost gets around the cornerback to outrun the leverage.
Kevin Johnson making a stop for the Cats.
Second down, second and about 3. Kevin Johnson again has the first down and down to the 10-yard line. He goes. Picks up the first down for the Spartans. And they move the chains.
You've got to be impressed with this drive. Backed up after the penalty, and they are really making a living on the ground down here inside of the 10-yard line.
Only 11 points down. Remember, a couple extra points missed by Bethune-Cookman. 1 blocked and 1 missed. So Norfolk State can close the gap here as Hewlett gets the call. Here's a young man, didn't play a week ago, redshirt senior out of Springfield, Virginia. Gerald Hewlett.
Yep, they're inside of it's a goal to go, 2nd and goal from inside of the 5 at about the 4. And they're doing this against a pretty good Bethune-Cookman defense, Charlie, against the run.
Bethune-Cookman has done a pretty good job against the run so far this year, giving up only about 226 yards a game.
That's the quarter.
10 touchdowns, and there's a timeout on the field as the third quarter comes to an end. We have an 11-point game, 25-14, Bethune-Cookman over Norfolk State, but the Spartans are threatening here as we go into the fourth quarter. You're watching the MEAC Digital Network right here on.
And it's built 5G ready.
Welcome back. You're watching the MEAC on ESPN3. Charlie Neal, Larry Wesley here, and 2nd down and goal from the 4 for Norfolk State as we start the fourth quarter here in Daytona Beach. And they give the ball straight ahead, and into the end zone goes Kevin Johnson. And it's a touchdown for the Spartans.
That's a good answer by the Spartans. They drive that football some 80 yards to get it down and in the end zone now, and PAT away from making this a 4-point football game.
So Kevin Johnson with a reception of 46 yards on a touchdown pass to start the scoring early in the contest, and now he scores again on a 4-yard run.
They may go for 2, Charlie, to try to make this a 3-point game.
Well, it looks like they might go for the 2-point conversion.
No, that's what the scorecard says, go for 2.
Kevin Johnson is a running back beside his quarterback. Back to pass. Carter throws wide open in the end zone, and that made it was easy as McFarland came up with the 2-point conversion on the catch.
Good-looking design of a play there to the tight end. He was wide open, as you said, and so just like that, we're back into a football game, 25-22, Bethune-Cookman leading.
Well, what a drive for these.
Yeah. That was a tremendous drive.
It started at their own 25. It was a 75-yard drive, and a number of people were involved in making this happen all the way down with Hewlett in there, Ellington, the wide receiver, McElhenney. That's Bethune's play. That was a previous drive by Bethune-Cookman.
But, you know, Charlie, in that last drive here, they also had to overcome a holding penalty. So you say 75 yards. They actually had to go 85 yards with that penalty being backed up.
And here we go again, carrying the ball, running off the right side. Here's Kevin Johnson. Kevin picking up some very valuable yards that time.
He was a workhorse.
And this is coming back down the field. Again, keeping the ball on the ground with Kevin Johnson, pulled down by the right jersey, and then they have it to Kevin Johnson, and he puts it in the end zone. His 2nd touchdown of the night. Again, as I said, he had a touchdown reception and had a touchdown running. Here's Riley on the return, and he brings it up to about the 28-yard line, and that's where the Wildcats will go to work, 1st down and 10. And we have a 3-point ball game.
Actually, Bird, I think, on that return.
Was that Bird?
Bird, number 5. Directionally kicking away from Jimmy Robinson, that is. And the Wildcats will get it at their own 28-yard line. You got about 14, a whole quarter to go, 14:50.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that last play scored with 14:56 to go. It's the first play of the fourth quarter. Here come the Wildcats of Bethune. Now, play clock is down to 9 seconds. They were on the sideline huddling.
We always do that.
Play clock down to 4 seconds. They get it off in time. And now here's a pass, and it is caught on the near sideline. And again, coming up with the reception that time was Riley, Marcus Riley.
It's a good outside route that time, throwing low and away.
Gain of 8, 2nd down and 2. 2 backs to the right side of Kevius Williams. Riley in motion, and they give to Riley on the sweep to the right side, trying to get out of bounds. Around the corner. He was run out of bounds, I should say, on the far side by Nigel Chavis, the middle linebacker. Co-captain of this team.
First down. That time he got to the sticks.
Ball carrier. First down.
And that's what he was trying to do. Bethune Cookman at the 38-yard line, their own 38. 3-point ball game here. And they keep the ball. Akevius Williams keeps it this time, gets a block, and he's finally brought down before he could get too much going by Bobby Price, senior out of Virginia Beach.
Quarterback keeper that time off of the zone read look and turns up inside as Akevius spun around. Spartans have done a good job containing Akevius in that package right there, limited him to 4 yards.
And the handoff this time to Washington, and he doesn't get much running room. A lot of people there with white jerseys to meet him.
Give him about a yard right there, Charlie. Great defense by the Spartans inside. Again, like I said, they're using a lot of run blitz.
Right.
From that standpoint, shooting their linebackers in the A-gap, and they've been doing a great job all night long.
Dixon and Hodges on the stop defensively. Now the pass over the middle, and it's good for a first down, and still on his feet, and may go to the house down inside the 20 and run out of bounds finally before he could get into the end zone.
That's the tight end, Demeron Mallett.
Mallett has had a pretty good night, hasn't he?
He has been a big football player this evening for the Wildcats. Boy, I tell you, somebody's going to find – how do you lose a kid that big? I mean, he's 6'6".
Well, he just got open in the middle. There was a play action. Mm-hmm. They faked the handoff, and he was wide open, and Akevius Williams did a good job getting it to him. Here's Jimmy Robinson, trying to turn the corner, and Robinson, with his elusiveness, still made something out of nothing. He was stopped in the backfield for possibly a loss, but more importantly, he gained 3.
Yeah, he turns up. He had to belly back a little bit there. Pressure from the edge by the Spartans, but they were able to actually get him to the corner and pull him down after about a 3-yard gain.
4-yard gain,
second down. 2nd and 7. Straight ahead again. Here's Akevius trying to look into the end zone. Out of bounds. Incomplete.
Got a hole here.
And it's against Bethune.
That's going to back up the Wildcats a little bit there.
Williams pass incomplete.
Let's see, spot foul, so probably from the 20, Charlie, to back the 30-yard line. It'll set up a 2nd and goal. Well, not goal. They can get a 1st and 10 inside of the 5 at the 4.
Number 63. 10-yard penalty in the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Jamal Savage, Jr. out of Plant City, Florida, guilty of the holding penalty.
Yep, he's a young man who's been a starter for the last couple of years, but that's been one of the problems with Savage. He's a great player, but tends to have sticky hands.
Well, they have to get to the 3 to get a first down. The ball is spotted right at the 20. So it's 2nd and 17 for Bethune-Cookman. Isaac Washington beside his quarterback. Here's Williams throwing, has it complete, near side, and stepping out of bounds and close to the first down will be gained.
I think they're going to call a hold.
Again?
On Bethune, I believe.
Well, Isaac Washington had to.
I think it's going to call on Jonathan Thomas.
He got the ball all the way down to the 6-yard line, rather. He has to get to the 3. That would have brought up about 3rd and 3, but the referees are talking things over. Robert Frazier is our referee tonight.
Flag is on the 10. They took it back 10 yards. Okay, pick it up.
So they picked that one up. But here's the pass play out in the flat. Maybe that's what they were talking about, that block at the end, but it was not a blindside block.
No. In fact, the tackler initiated the contact on that.
Now we have substitutions coming in. Mallard comes back into the lineup now. He's been a beast and a force to be reckoned with in this contest so far. Play clock down under 8 seconds. Washington behind his quarterback. And Williams has it, trying to turn the corner, and will not be able to, as he is brought down with a vengeance that time. Bethune Cookman trying to get around the corner, and Quinterly would not let him.
Now they're appealing for a horse collar tackle here, but fourth down. Do you not take the penalty? I mean, you not take the points here?
Yeah, the kid that just made that tackle, his dad, John, was an all-CIAA running back at Norfolk State between 93 and 96. Gained over 1,000 yards his senior year.
Remember, he was a good runner.
John Quinterly, yes. So they're going to try the field goal. This will be a 23-yard attempt. No, 28-yard attempt. Make it a 28-yard attempt, and it is good.
It's good.
So from 28 yards out, a 6-point lead now for Bethune-Cookman. 28-22 with 10:35 to go here in the fourth quarter. You're watching MEAC Digital Football right here on ESPN3.
Introducing our newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Welcome back. You're watching the MEAC on ESPN3 along with Mr. Wesley, Charlie Neal, and we're here in Daytona Beach. And Mr. McDonald, Javier, 5 of 5 for the season in field goals, 3 for 3 here in this contest. They came from 25, 29, and 23 yards out. Last 3 possessions for Bethune-Cookman has resulted in field goals and a fair catch call for, and by that being the case, the ball will be brought out to the 25.
Yeah, that's a smart new rule that they've had it out a few years, 3 years now. But Norfolk State taking advantage of field position and not trying to run it out. The kick was to about the 5-yard line, but they would rather start their drive at the 25-yard line. So net gain of about 20 yards right there on the Spartans' part.
And the last time they had the ball, Norfolk State, they started at their own 25, drove down 75 yards, got it into the end zone by way of Johnson's 4-yard run, his second touchdown of the day. And they went for the 2-point conversion. They converted it to McFarland. And now they keep it on the ground again and spinning forward for about a yard. And that's all they're going to get.
Maybe given 2, Charlie, where they're marking it now to about the 30, the 29, 28.
Kevin James on the stop for the Cats.
So they gave him 3 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Raekwon Smith in the backfield now. Carter back to pass, throws, and it's McElhenney with the reception on the near side. McElhenney moves the chains, gets the first down. Ball spotted at the 36-yard line.
Another great throw and catch that time. McElhenney receiving it from Jawan Carter. At this rate, Charlie, he may have a shot. He may have a shot at that record by the middle of next year.
He may before the end of the season.
Before this year's over.
Ellington comes to the near side on 1st down and 10, and nothing doing that time as a flag comes down after the hit. And the hit was on Raekwon Smith. Let's see what we get.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 21. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
That was on Tadarius Peters out of JS, Mississippi, senior, number 21. So that moves the ball and it moves the chains, and it gives the Spartans new life. 1st down and 10, and the ball is spotted across midfield right at the 49-yard line of Bethune-Cookman.
Well, the Spartans don't need a lot of help the way they've been moving the football tonight, Charlie. But you're under the heat of the fire of the game, and your hands get up near the face mask. Tadarius called for that penalty.
So Norfolk State with the ball. Here's Carter, steps up into the pocket, still on his feet, but he's being pinballed right at the midfield stripe. A lot of dark jerseys around him that time. He could not get away from the defense of the Wildcats.
No, the Wildcats swarmed that time real well. Carter, again, with great escapability, using his legs, and we've seen how efficient he is throwing the football this evening for the Spartans, but they end up losing a yard on that particular play.
Norfolk goes home to play Morgan State next week. It's homecoming in Norfolk, Virginia. Then they hit the road against North Carolina Central and Delaware State before closing out the season at home against the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. At the midfield stripe, here they go. Trying to turn to the corner and go to the right side. Not much running room, but they get the ball down to the 45-yard line with Raekwon Smith on the carry.
Manageable third down. Charlie gets it to as you said, the 45. They need the 39. Third down at about 7 right now. And the Spartans have been very good all night long in these situations. See if the Wildcats can find some defense here, but good-looking offense so far by Spartans.
Kevin Johnson is the back in the backfield. Kevin Johnson goes out. The pass is thrown complete to McElhenney, and McElhenney has the first down at the 35-yard line.
Do we have a marker or something here? Coming in late?
Holding. Maybe on the defense. Let's see. The field judge called it.
Who could be holding unless the pass was complete and they're going to waive it? Decline the penalty. Are they going to?
Holding defense, number 31. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Penalty results in a first down. This will also be a sideline warning for Bethune Cookman. That is their first sideline warning.
Devin James, the linebacker, guilty of the holding penalty. So that gives the Spartans even better field position.
It does indeed.
Moves them all the way down to the 26-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10. Off the left side goes the running back, Kevin Johnson. And Kevin Johnson down to the 19-yard line. A gain of 8, where it'll be second down and 2.
Well, they've found something, as we said, all night long, running that football behind that veteran offensive line. And when you've got a veteran line, both of these football teams have veteran lines, but the Spartans' offensive line has played a whale of a football game so far.
The only non-starter from a year ago is the center, Dominic Jordan, who replaced Wes Jones, who was a co-captain and started 33 games for the Spartans. Straight ahead goes Kevin Johnson, has the first down, and he fumbled the ball. Let's see. And the Bethune Cookman recovers. The second turnover of the game for the Spartans of Norfolk State. He was running hard, but they hit him, and forced the ball out, and they recover.
Yeah, he was trying to work for extra yardage right there, and somebody got a hand in there and knocked it loose from the Spartans, and the Wildcats opportunistically fall on top of it, and the ball is resting at the 10-yard line, but the Spartans were driving that football.
Yeah, they drove all the way from their 25, got all the way down to the 10-yard line of Bethune and fumbled. That's the second time today. The first one was in the first half. It was a muff on a punt by Bethune Cookman. They ball touched one of the Norfolk State players. Bethune came away with it and scored after recovering. Now let's see what they can do now. The ball at their own 10-yard line with 6:48 to go and leading by 6. Keeping it on the ground and running straight ahead.
It's about 5 yards on 1st and 10 with the dive out of the Wildcat look. I mean, out of the pistol look right there, and running inside, running hard. Good gain on 1st and 10.
Beauchamp, tight end, comes to the near side. Here again, they keep the ball on the ground and putting his head down and just barreling forward is Isaac Washington.
Well, Isaac is a real tough downhill runner. He runs it really hard inside.
And they get the first down with that run out to the 21-yard line. This drive started at their own 10. They're going to try to use clock right now. It's to their advantage. They move the chains with that first down run by Isaac Washington. He's back behind his quarterback. And Washington has the ball once again, picks up a couple of yards out to about the 23-yard line this time.
Well, the safeties for the Spartans have come all the way up into the run box. There was no one beyond 5 yards of the offensive line of scrimmage on that last play right there, trying to nullify that running game.
Well, one of the things we talked about with Coach Scott was the fact that 3 of his top 4 tacklers were defensive backs. That's not something you really like to see, is it?
No, that's not. That doesn't want to make a living that way.
And again, here's a quarterback, Akevius Williams, turning the corner, going around the right side. Up the sideline he goes and runs out of bounds in front of the Norfolk State bench, but not before he gets to the 45-yard line.
Well, I was wondering when they might pull that time. He faked the zone read inside, and that time Akevius showed his wheels and got outside for a big 1st and 10 to about the 45-yard line, 46.
They're going to mark it at the 46 before he ran out of bounds. It is 1st down and 10, Bethune-Cookman. He's throwing it out to the near side this time, and he has it complete to Mallett. Mallett has been all over the field this evening as a receiver for Bethune-Cookman. And he has a completion, and it moves the ball across midfield right to the 49-yard line of Norfolk State.
We're inside of 4 minutes, Charlie. Inside of 5 minutes, I should say.
And again, they've done a very good job of mixture on plays in this drive. They ran the ball, little throw, little sweep, little throw, little sweep, sweep, throw.
Yeah, a little dinking and dunking is what they say. Taking what the defense is. Got a football player who's down on the field for the Spartans. Some type of cramp or number 11 for the Spartans. And I guess he's coming down with some cramps there.
Yeah, he's sitting down. That's Chauvier Williams, sophomore out of Norfolk. Yeah, the cornerback out of Granby High. We're going to take a timeout, step aside. You're watching MEAC Football right here on their digital network on ESPN3 with 420.
And it's built 5G ready.
Along with Larry Wesley, Charlie Neal here in Daytona Beach. You're watching MEAC Football right here on ESPN3. And it's 2nd down and 5 for Bethune-Cookman. Quick pass out in the flat, and nothing doing that time as the white jerseys of Norfolk State, led by Chavis, were there to meet. And now Norfolk State uses their first. Deshaun Dixon also there defensively. So that is Norfolk State using their first timeout of the second half. They still have 2 timeouts remaining. Remember, you're watching the MEAC Digital Network right here on ESPN3.
T-Mobile's network connects baseball fans across the league. Introducing our newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther or is more reliable, and it's built 5G ready.
Welcome back to Daytona Beach. At the midfield stripe is 3rd down and 5 for Bethune-Cookman. Back to pass is Williams. Williams throws, and it's almost picked off. Almost intercepted. Coming up, trying to do it defensively for the Spartans of Norfolk State was Brandon Savage, the co-captain.
He read it really well right there.
Yeah, he had 1 interception so far this year. And it'll bring up 4th down. And that'll bring on Bryce Cowart.
50.
He hasn't punted since early in this contest. Well, he did punt once in the second quarter, second half. Oh, no, punted early in the first half, I should say. And this one goes out of bounds. Not a good kick. So an opportunity now for, again, it's a 6-point ball game, 3:54 to go, and 2 timeouts left for the Spartans of Norfolk State.
He'll get it at their own 20.
And that's where they'll go to work. First down and 10. Their last drive ended in a fumble at the 10-yard line of Bethune Cookman. They were going in, and they turned the ball over, their second turnover of the ball game. More importantly, they have two running backs that are close to 100 yards rushing tonight.
Yeah, either one of them touches it again. One of them will be over 100 yards.
Raquan Smith has 99 yards rushing, and Kevin Johnson has 95 yards rushing. And they keep the ball on the ground, and one of the offensive linemen for Norfolk State a little slow getting up this time.
Yep. Pick up about 4 yards right there. Spartans are very, very, very comfortable matriculating the football down the football field.
3rd and 6. This pass is incomplete. A flag goes down.
Flag is.
Let's see, and that ball was intended for Raquan Smith coming out of the backfield. Let's see if it's going to be against Bethune Cookman.
Looks like it might be from where they're indicating. Spot foul. Let's see what they'll call.
Holding defense. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Penalty results in a first down.
It didn't say who it was on.
End of the run, but it was no run.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, there was no run. It was in the.
He said run.
But again, just a 10-yard penalty.
Another penalty
from the spot.
Right. Big penalties.
First down and 10 now. Handoff to the left side goes Kevin Johnson, and Kevin Johnson across the 35-yard line to the 36, a gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Spartans with 2 timeouts left, and Bethune with 1 timeout left. Bethune used 2 timeouts in the 3rd quarter.
Coming to the near side is McElhenney. Has a number of receptions on his resume tonight. Raquan Smith is over 100 yards rushing for the ball game. Here's chasing the quarterback. Carter out of the backfield goes the running back, Kevin Johnson. He gets the reception and runs out of bounds, but stops the clock with a first down. So the ball is spotted right at the 44-yard line, their own 44. Justin Smith goes to the far side.
Yeah, the Spartans have been very patient in taking what's been available defensively.
2:22 remaining on the game clock. A 6-point ball game right now. Carter throws. That should have been intercepted, but nobody was there to pick it off for Bethune Cookman. They had a chance. It was 2 black jerseys around that ball.
Yeah, that was a real dangerous throw right there.
All the way across field and
from the hash to the other hash.
It certainly was. A long way they had to go for that one. Tadarius Peters had an opportunity. That's the second chance time tonight. It looks like he had an opportunity to make a catch.
And the senior from Mississippi is pretty good at that.
McElhenney with 3 receptions on his stats tonight. Here's out of the backfield. They're trying to get to Kevin Johnson. Kevin gets the reception. Another flag comes out. This is in the vicinity of holding on an offensive player. The umpire threw this one.
Let's see. I don't know.
Personal foul, tripping, offense number 62. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, 2nd down.
Well, you hear a roar
the center, Dominique Jordan.
Right, you hear a roar from the Wildcat crowd that time at the 15 yards going back against the Spartans.
Well, let's see if they can keep the pressure up on the defensive line with Bowman and Jerome Howard, McKenzie, and Ford. Putting pressure on the quarterback, Jawan Carter. It's first down.
Is it first? Is it? Yes, it is first. Was it first or second, Charlie? I think it was second down. They ran a play before.
Well, they have not moved. I'm looking at the down marker on the far side. Maybe it is second down. It is. It's second and a lot of real estate. They have to get all the way up across midfield to the 46-yard line of Bethune-Cookman. Here comes the pressure. Quarterback being chased, and he's brought down in the backfield. What a play that time by number 91. That's Tony Bowman out of Tunica, Mississippi.
It's a junior transfer.
Yeah, from Coahoma Community College, yeah. So brings up a third down after that sack.
Well, it's 4-down territory here if you don't get it.
Well, you have to go for it. It's 1:20 to go. You have to try to keep the drive alive. Here he goes again. Carter throws behind the receiver, McElhenney, on the near side. He was coming across the field, and it was a little bit too high and a little bit behind him.
Fourth down.
So it's fourth down.
4th and 26. On your feet, Cats. On your feet, Wildcat fans. 4th down and 26.
28-22 the score. 1:11 to go. And a 4th and 26 facing the Spartans of Norfolk State. They trail it by 6. How big was that fumble the last time they were down the field and turned the ball over at the 10-yard line and a timeout? Delay of game. Now it's 4th and 31.
Well, they're going the wrong way, Charlie, right now. Spartans have 1 timeout left, 2 timeouts left.
Yeah, they have 2 timeouts left, but more importantly, they're facing a 4th and 31.
Let the defense hear you.
The ball is being snapped from about the 18, 19-yard line. They have to get all the way to the 46. And now the quarterback is sacked. Boy, what a way to add insult to injury on that 4th down. That'll give Bethune the ball at the 6-yard line, 1st and 10, or 1st and goal, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, but, you know.
Marcus Ford on the stop.
That's the All-American right there, Marcus Ford, making his presence felt at a most opportune time in this football game. 1:05 to go. Charlie, you really can take 2, 3 knees here and get out of here.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything but victory formation.
Buses will be leaving for campus immediately following the alma mater.
So this drive started at their own 20. They ended up at their own 6 after penalties and a couple sacks by the defense of Bethune-Cookman. But again, remember the previous drive by Norfolk State, that doomed them when they fumbled at the 10-yard line. Now they're not in the victory formation. Let's see what they're going to come up with this time. They keep the ball on the ground, running straight ahead, and they get into the end zone. And who else but Isaac Washington, and he goes over 100 yards for the night.
Good job by Isaac that time. He found a crease inside there and ran up. And you wonder, Charlie, if the Spartans sort of, that was one of the most least resisted plays of the evening right there. And the Spartans defense, which has played very, very, very formidable this evening, that time sort of gave way in the middle, and the Wildcats found pay dirt.
6-yard run by Isaac Washington. And that adds to the score with 1:01 to go here in the 4th quarter. McDonald, who's had some struggles here with the point afters tonight, he puts this one through, and it's 35-22.
Still got a minute and 1:01 left to go in the game. 1:01 to go in the game.
But McDonald kind of redeemed himself with the 3
he
field
did.
goals.
Yeah, he said, I can't get you 1, but I'll get you 3.
Yeah, right.
I like his math.
His math is a little good. It's pretty good, isn't it?
Right. He's my kind of guy. Maybe
3 is better than 1,
You
isn't
might
it?
need to go in to become an economist, economic major. No doubt about that.
Larry, it's been great working with you.
Man.
You know this conference, you know history, and you know the school like the back of your hand.
Well, we've been around, Charlie, and it's such a pleasure for me to get this opportunity to work with you after watching you for so many years and being such a fan.
Well, thank you. And we look at Bethune-Cookman's schedule the rest of the way. Of course, their game against Southeast Louisiana canceled because of the hurricane. Going down the list, they lost to Miami. They beat Mississippi Valley, Howard, Morgan State Central, now on the verge of winning their 5th straight game. They'll play home next week against South Carolina State right here. It'll be homecoming against the Bulldogs. Delaware State will be on the road at A&T, and then they close out the season at the Florida Classic in Orlando against Florida A&M on November 23rd.
Yep. That's a good kick right there.
And it's going to be run back. And they run it back out to the 23-yard line.
I'm impressed with McDonald's kicking, his kickoffs and his placements this evening. And, you're starting 2 freshman kickers. You got a freshman punter and a freshman place kicker. That's not the most comforting things in the world, but these 2 guys have certainly proven well tonight.
So Isaac Washington with 104 yards rushing. He has a touchdown. That kind of increased the Bulldogs, the Wildcats lead over the Spartans here in Daytona Beach. It'll be the Bulldogs in here next weekend.
That's what I thought you were thinking on Buddy Pugh, and he certainly is coming in with a big victory today to break Willie Jeffers' record.
He certainly did. Here's a pass. McElhenney cannot get to it. And the clock stops with 49 seconds to go.
They are dropping back now, trying to go down the field as they did previously. It was just misconnecting right there. But Carter's played a great game. He really has. He managed this football game really, really well, and I really like this young man.
Norfolk State goes home for homecoming next week. Bethune-Cookman is at home for their homecoming against South Carolina State. And a flag is going to be whistled and thrown against Bethune-Cookman. McElhenney was trying to get to the ball, and he was knocked down as the ball was in the air.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who that was. Looks like Trevor Merritt. No, it was actually Vernon Walker, 23.
Okay.
Who was flagged for that.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 21. 15-yard penalty.
Well, they call it as a face mask penalty.
Oh, no. I didn't even see Tydarius in the game. Well, yes, he is out there. He's on the other side of the field. The action was on this side.
I think they got the numbers mixed.
Wrong. I do too, because the play was in front of us.
Unless something happened over there we didn't see, but the flag came from over this side. Here's Carter running for his life, and he's sacked once again by this Bethune-Cookman team who has been on a tear just of lately, especially the defensive side of the ball.
Well, we've seen a lot of sacks tonight on both these quarterbacks, and both these quarterbacks are very athletic, Charlie. So to get home with those rushes, you got to be pretty good to get these 2 guys down.
No question. This is a team, this Bethune-Cookman team last year that won 6 of its last 8 games. Right now they're on a 5-game winning streak with this one coming to an end. Down to last play of the game. It's a completion. And that was Kevin Johnson on the reception. And it's all over. The final score, 35-22. Your thoughts on this contest?
A great football game. We witnessed a really, really hard-fought football game on both parts of both teams here. And Johnson, what can you say about him? Even in defeat, he has racked up some tremendous yardage offensively. And the Spartans certainly have nothing to be ashamed of. They gave a great account of themselves. Just that one turnover, Charlie, going in there at the 10-yard line might have cost them this football game.
They certainly did. Akevius Williams with 274 yards passing. Juwan Carter, 221 for the Spartans of Norfolk State. Leading rushers in the game, we talked about Raekwon Smith from Norfolk State with 103 yards. Kevin Johnson with 97 yards. And on the other side, Bethune-Cookman's Isaac Washington with 104 yards rushing. We say congratulations to Terry Sims and the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. They increased their record for the season to 6-1. They go to 4-0 in conference play. Final score from Daytona Stadium in Daytona Beach, Florida, 35 for Bethune-Cookman, 22 for Norfolk State. For Larry Wesley, I'm Charlie Neal saying thanks for watching the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN3. All games airing on the ESPN networks, streaming live.